truth, to the proof. Now drop it. Taking over. ColeyUFO, Gary Pops. Truth warriors unite, never gonna stop. Beat me up, oh, beat me up. Beat me up, oh, beat me up. Down la 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 la. ColeyUFO, beam me up. Maya start fire, light it up. S and X on the airwaves now. Truth in the static, clear somehow. I've been a seeker since day one, with a pocket full of doubt and a red sun. Coley, Weber, voice so clear. Maya start fire, bring that near. Unite the ones who feel too deep. Wake that fire, raise it up from sleep. ColeyUFO, beam me up. Beam me up. Maya start fire, light it up. Light it up. S and X, we rise as one. Truth dream, here we come. ColeyUFO, Maya start fire, light it up. Coley Weber, aka ColeyUFO, hot supreme when the questions flow. Experiencer with a steady hand, pointing souls to the promised land. Maya star fire, healer in flame. Master energy, calling your name. Impact glow in the midnight air. Take that journey if you dare. Coley Weber, vision clear. SNX uniting year by year. Maya star fire, spark and guide. Open the door and step inside. ColeyUFO, beam me up. Beam me up. Maya star fire, light it up. Light it up. SNX, we rise as one. Truth dream, here we come. Maya star fire, light it up. Beyond disclosure, we keep it real. Heart to heart, that's the deal. Seekers gather, names in flight. One true path in the neon night. One true path in the neon night. ColeyUFO, beam me up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of SNX Radio. But tonight we have a very special show with Pops and I are doing, and it's Pops and Coley's Town Hall. So, yes, welcome to our new setup here. I know it looks the same, but I'm joking.
Did the music put it back the other way? No, yeah, we lost about a third of the sound.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's odd. I could hear it the whole time. I apologize for that. So yeah, if you had to sit in silence. And basically what I'm doing is it's not to make you sit there anyway. I'm dropping the link live and I let it go just a little bit longer today because I had an error. And so I still gonna fix it after. But yeah, we've got a really exciting guest. Most of you probably, if you watched Pop's panel, saw Roger on. And really quickly, I guess Roger knows everybody. Should we bring him out to go through chat, or you want to go through chat really quick?
Well, we can go through chat with him because, like you said, he knows everybody anyway.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, you probably. Hi, Roger.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Roger.
Yeah, I just now recovered. Gary made me laugh, and I choked on my tea about 20 minutes ago.
Which part? He had some good ones today. Man.
And I've got Doug Highcheck texting me, trying to make me laugh and mess me up too. So I'm gonna have to turn the phone off.
I'm all about it. I'm known for having outbursts. Like I Googled it one time, or you know how you have AI analyze it, and then they said I have like laughter outbursts or something. I'm like, oh, good God.
That's what I used to get in trouble for at school. Something would strike me funny. I'd be
I just start laughing. Yeah,
I laughing and crying. I went to the principal's office more times for that than anything.
Oh, it's horrible.
Roger, you stay in trouble on the shows too because you're laughing all the time.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it, y'all. I mean, my family, Gary and I grew up a little bit similar country, and we picked with each other, and everybody had a great sense of humor, and my kids, they're the same way, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I do them? Like now I can't catch a break. They're always on me.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
We got to pick on each other.
I find a joke in like the worst of times. I'm telling you, the most inappropriate moment, I'm laughing or telling a joke.
I totally understand.
Well, it's just like Roger and I were talking backstage a while ago. If we're not picking on you, we don't like you. If we like you, we are picking on you. Now, granted, I'm a lot older than Roger, so I grew up even farther back than he did. But we did. We grew up out in the country, and we picked on each other. We picked on our friends. And then we still do. Yeah. We pick on each other all the time.
The Southern folks do their most laughing eating at a funeral.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's very true.
That's true.
That is exactly the moments that Oh God.
You tell funny stories of the people that, have passed and share the good times, and hey, it's even better over fried chicken and mashed taters.
You got that right.
Oh my gosh. I said,
well, Roger, we decided to go through chat when you got on here because nearly everybody in here anyway.
Just about.
We all watch you on your channel. And if y'all didn't notice, Roger's channel is running across the ticker tonight. That is the link to his show.
Thank you.
So everybody be sure and go over and subscribe if you're not already.
Is that where you want them at the Untold Network, or do you have another one too? I wasn't sure.
Well, I have. Okay, we started SQUATCHIN HOLLAR. I started that just on the YouTube channel, and then we joined with Doug Highcheck on Untold Radio Network. Mm-hmm. And I have a at Roger Holler where I do. We do the Eli Coulter music. It's on one page. It's confusing.
Okay.
And then at Roger Holler, I kind of do my own thing with kind of like some of the music you do, something for fun where I can ride down the road and kind of jam the stuff I like. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So we'll subscribe to both. I'll add that other link then. I was just not sure if
you want good.
Yeah. Gary told me to go to the Untold Network and I was like, I think he had another one. And then he said, it's easiest if you send him to the Untold Network. I'm not being mean.
But you can go back and look at the original SQUATCHIN HOLLAR. And sometimes I do just for fun. It's terrible. It's the first few shows, just
you can see how far you go. Oh my gosh, some of mine. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. There's a learning curve, everyone. There is a learning curve.
Yeah. He does have shows back on Roger Holler. but all the newer ones is on Untold Network. And if you want to go to Untold Network, it will. You can from there you can go back to Roger Holler.
Yeah, and there's some really good shows that I was proud of. The one with MK Davis, I've had people tell me, I mean, I know that was one of the best interviews because I had ideas too. We just kind of discussed things, and then one of my favorites is I found like over 30 Bigfoot tracks at LBL one time.
Oh wow!
And I came back with video and everything, and took some screenshots, and a lot of people started sending me messages in 3 years, almost to the day before. They found the same trackway, the same family in the same spot, but they casted them, and it was a lot of people there with a lot of experience. And if y'all go want to see a good one, and everybody's like, "Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?" Go check out. It was the people that documented the LBL. It's known as the Noble Reed Trackway because Patrick Noble and Shelley Reed found it. It's amazing. And
here's the funny part. During the meet and freeze, what, 3 years ago, Roger?
It's called meet and freeze?
It was supposed to be a meet and greet, but it was like 18 degrees.
I was like, that's actually funny.
Patrick Noble's actually in chat right there. Patrick Noble 5112. He's the man that was there.
Oh, that is funny.
What's funny about it is we went back to that spot at the meet and freeze, that same spot, and found a 24-inch set of tracks, a 15-inch set of tracks, and 3 10-inch tracks in that same place where they found theirs.
Yep, family unit for sure.
There's a family unit that runs through that one spot down there.
I'll try to get closer to the mic. Somebody said they couldn't hear me too well. So.
Oh, I'm still at the top of the list. I always start at the top. Apparently, everybody's at the bottom, so I don't see them. And I never see the comments as they're coming through because I'm always dropping the link live. But as soon as I fix the Twitter link over there, it will pop up on numbers. But yeah. Well, I guess before we get going, we should probably say hi to chat before I forget, Gary.
Yeah.
And I'll have to blame you or something for that. I'm joking. But yeah, we can go through. Are you at the bottom? I'll start at. Okay. Here, Gary's good at this. I never want to race you again after I thought that I literally was going to have carpal tunnel surgery trying to say hello to people faster in chat than Gary. And I had a brace on it was so bad. Oh my gosh. So I won't do that again. But yeah, go ahead.
We got Bobby Yance, Brother Littlefoot, Patrick Noble, Standing Stones, Sandra Piper, Larry Berlin, Skidder Operator, Bigfoot Dwarfs in the house. There's Varex just come in. How you doing? I am Varex.
He's good at this. You're good at it. Keep going.
We got Gerald from Midwest Night Watchers.
Oh, that's
Jim's Camera on Music. Amy Allo, Wendell Bigfoot 911. And everybody needs to go subscribe to all these people. Wendell, Midwest Night Watcher, Bigfoot Dwarf. If you haven't already subscribed, go subscribe to them.
Oh, yeah.
We got the daddy, Richard Jr. in the house. Val, Southwest PA's in here. Now, look at there. There's Bigfoot fan Cindy.
Hi,
one
Cindy.
of my best friends. Catherine's Fabulous 60s. There's another one you need to go subscribe to. All right, you take over and more.
Oh my gosh, you were good. Okay, Standing Stones. Squirrel Gone Wild. Great to see you, Val. A nice welcome. And you guys, the show last night was really good with G on Midwest Night Watchers. Go check it out. I think just drop a comment that he should have a game show and I should come on so we can play this game. He'll know what we're talking about. But Macy, great to see you. Amy, did I already? Pops, you did this so well that I think I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Minsky come in. Gene Hudson, my other best friends in here, and I just had to get my breath. John Allen from Down Under is in here.
The Thunder Down Under.
Yeah, and Roger Blair. I've seen somebody else and now I done forgot it.
I saw Sandra.
Yeah, Sandra Piper's here.
Oh, you said.
Yeah.
Is it let's see. Aloria? Am I saying it right? Aloria?
Aloria's here, yeah.
Yes,
you're right. She's here.
And
Barbara B. Mora,
more.
my foot. Yeah, she makes all my ceramics.
Oh,
Those
yes.
ceramics that I sell, that's who makes them. She does a really good job. So if y'all want ceramics, get a hold of me, and I will get a hold of her.
We got Steamboat.
Susan Phoenix. Yeah, go ahead, Steamboat.
No, that's okay. I just now lost my place. Go ahead.
Susan Phoenix is here. I already said Wendell, I think. PNW Rush. Y'all be sure and go subscribe to their channel, and they're going to be on this show here pretty soon. Friday, she said. Martha Haney's here.
I have Larry. Larry's in the house, and I think
we got two Larrys here. We got Larry Berlin and Larry.
Larry. Yes.
And then Watersview is here.
Bobby Joyce, I got, and Waterview, Wendell. I think, did we get them all? I think we got them all.
I think we got them all.
If we didn't, we apologize. Gary, you're so good at that, but I didn't realize you were losing your breath doing it, so I apologize. I guess Patrick, Jim, and Skitter, and I think we got, everybody else. We will catch you on, but we've got a very special guest, as you all probably know him, and if you don't know him, then I will say you've been living under the YouTube rock.
Yeah. Everybody knows Roger.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Roger, you got a great show. We love coming over there and watching.
Well,
and Roger, just so you'll know, she does have the picture of LBL that we saw, and she's got my howl now. Oh, there's Philip Miller. There's one we forgot to say. Hi, Philip.
Yeah, I forgot to send the howl from South Alabama. That was intense. Thank y'all for all the nice words. It's hard to take, like I said last time, it's hard to take compliments because, I just bought a cheap mic and a little camera and decided to do this. It's painful to watch the beginnings. But I use, I'll go back and watch a show just to critique myself. What could I have done better? Don't do that again. So
that's the worst thing. I never used to watch them, and then I didn't catch everything right away. And I was like, man, it's hard to watch yourself.
It is. And see, a lot of people, they'll come up to me and, I love your accent. I love your voice. And to me, I sound like a hay bale and a butterbean had a baby. You know what I mean? So I don't really like listening to myself. And I'm the same everywhere. If I meet y'all in public, I'm gonna be the same old Roger. So it's I can tell the difference from the beginnings to now, but there's still room for improvement. And I appreciate everybody hanging in there. I get tongue tied, I start laughing, can't stop, but,
I do too. I have outbursts. Yeah. I think we all have our quirks, otherwise we wouldn't be here. Nobody'd be watching anyway.
I didn't know that was a medical condition until Coley told me backstage.
Hi, Katie G. And y'all don't believe him, because believe me, he is not the same in the field when you meet him. He's even worse. We pick on each other even worse than we do on shows.
Pops, dang it.
He's always busting out, and Roger be like, Roger, that's not what you said. That's not what you said, Roger.
I know. He knows. He knows for sure.
And Roger, I know we're alive, but I need to ask you something. I don't know how to get a hold of him. That Mike Smith that saw the eye shine at LBL.
Yeah.
We need to get a hold of him, try to get him on the show. So if you can help us out there, we'd appreciate it.
Definitely. Super nice guy. He grew up there close to the LBL, and he's fished there and hunted there all his life. And, one fishing trip with his family changed his ideas when, the Bigfoot showed themselves, and he got a good they were on the water, and his little girl, they got on the bank to cook hot dogs, and he heard something big walking. And so now his daughter, to this day, they'll cook a few extra hot dogs to leave for the Bigfoot. So
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I just happened to think of it. If you would help us get in touch with him, either me or Coley, either one, we'd love to have him on the show.
Mike's a great guy. He's really
I wasn't sure if he was on Facebook, if he was one of the people on Facebook or not. So I didn't know. So that's just good thinking, Pops.
he's he's a musician. He's a teacher and a coach, and just like the rest of us, just regular people that had these
Yeah.
things happen all of a sudden and just change. Now he's part of a research group that they go in all the time. They have I don't know if it's the same family unit. I'm sure there are more than what we've seen, but they're to the point now where they don't give out locations because they want to keep the
Right.
family safe, right? So
Yeah. Well, none of us will give out the locations anymore
yeah,
because too many people start coming in and bothering them all the time, and we don't want that. We want them left alone.
yeah, and it took me a while to get to that point. It's first, the crazy stuff happens, and then you wonder your whole life what they are, and then you go researching and all this, and then talking to people like Gary and other people across the country, then you realize, hey, there's more to these things than I ever thought, and they just want to be left alone too. If I go and they decide to come around, you know, just out, just outside the visuals, you can tell they're there. I mean, they're
Yeah.
so big. I mean, and sometimes I think they'll do things to let you know that they're there. So I've struggled with what if I do get that one picture or that video. Um, I, I struggle with thinking, which I don't think I will, but I have thought about it. Would I share it? Would I be messing them up? Would I be messing them over? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of I'm to that point now, and I never thought I would be there. But I'm distracted, y'all. My wife's cooking something that smells so good.
What you
Well,
having for dinner over there?
Yeah, I don't know. It smells
that's
good.
just like the one we saw at LBL. We got the picture of. You're kind of scared to show it because not only are people going to say it ain't real,
Yeah.
if they do think it's real, they're going to go hunting for it.
Yeah, and they're come. This comes with a responsibility that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think
I
about.
agree. Yeah.
I didn't think about it first, and I think once I got to that point, things kind of calmed down too. We weren't welcome in the two places at first, and they let it be known. Rock throwing, huff growls, throwing branches and logs, stuff like that. But I think the more we learned about them and we show respect, Gary says that all the time. The more we showed respect, the easier it got for all of us. So now I feel lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
To I didn't feel that way for a long time, like the UFO and the ghosts and all that. Now I don't know what to think about all the paranormal stuff, but I don't know whether it's something you're born with and other people can't see or hear things. But there was a haunted house. The first house I remember living in at 2 and 3 years old. I can't remember where my keys are right now, but some of these things are burned into my head. You know, my aunt was 14 at the time living with us, and her and my mom and even my dad had weird stuff happen. And as I got older, things would happen, and it's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know why this is happening to me, and hopefully making friends. I know Pops has already helped me, and people like Coley that know more about this stuff than I know. I'm hoping that I'll learn more about that also, because that's been a bigger part of my life than the Bigfoot, because you know you can just go in a place and feel. I can feel it. I'll leave if I go in a house or an area, whether it's LBL and it's fine over here, and you go down this road and there's cemeteries everywhere. I'm not scared of cemeteries. I used to mow for a cemetery, the city cemetery, which was the biggest one here. I was a little nervous about it at first, but I started showing respect. I was like, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm about to make your, push mowing for the city," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm about to make this look good for you." Whatever, it made me feel better. But I can go in a cemetery at midnight; it doesn't bother me.
Me either. I don't have that rational fear. But did you know that with ET and that every single experiencer that has been, whether or not that's why I suspect that there's more to it, you just don't remember it. But they were either born a medium, like able to communicate, or it happened shortly before or after they had ET contact.
Well, the lady, I don't know if I told about my great grandmother Lydia Gray Eyes when I found out all that, and then I called my mom yesterday. I did a little more digging, and I don't know where my name Roger really came from. And when I found out her husband's middle name was Roger back in the late 1700s,
Oh, wow.
that kind of blew me away. And then the lady that I stopped on that trail in North Carolina, Cherokee lady with gray eyes, I made a little small talk, and then I'm like, well, the reason I stopped you, and I told that on your show last time, was because of your gray eyes. And she started telling me, I asked her was that normal? Was that rare? And she told me a lot of things about people with gray eyes that fit me. And
do you have I have gray. That's funny. The real
I've got blue eyes, but I've never seen anybody with gray eyes but that lady. So when I said, well, my great grandmother was Lydia Gray Eyes, and she looked at me and smiled, and she said, she's always known who you are. Oh, wow. Just full body chills,
So you're talking about, I had a neighbor like that. Like there were the real light gray, because I feel like mine look gray, but they're not. They're more on the blue spectrum. But I know what you're talking about. I was like, is she human? It is I don't know, something. It definitely was like a gateway. It feels
well when it's rare, anything that's rare. I had a lady come in our store a long time ago, and when I looked up, she didn't have the round pupils. She had the slits, and when I looked up, she had like a hazel colored eyes. I know it. I did a double take, and she just smiled. I didn't mention anything. I didn't, I didn't want to offend her, but
do you think she knew?
she knew the
Man,
look on
you've got reptilian eyes right now. Okay.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's a condition some people have, but that's the only person I've ever seen in person. I've seen videos of people that it looks like it happened, but that's that could be manipulated. But she was standing there in front of me, so anytime something's rare like that, we do a double take, or wonder what it really is. So I just was interested in. I think she knew what I was asking, and she told me about more intuitive, more in tune with nature, more open to all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking she's describing me a little bit, and she knew.
Wow!
But somehow she knew it. I mean, So
do you think it skipped a few generations? Are you the first one in your family that you know of, or?
No. My mom, my aunt. I don't know how many people farther back, because I don't remember anybody talking about it. But my mom's had things happen to her. We had something happen when we were together. I'll tell it real quickly. We were driving one night. She was driving in the rain, and this old man in a yellow slicker carrying 2 buckets walked out across the road, and we almost hit him. She slid to a stop, and she said some pretty good words. She's like, she lets them roll sometimes. So he's looking in at us like this mean look, like, what are you doing? Drive better or whatever. And he was scowling at us. And I remember the lights reflecting off of the yellow slicker. And I remember seeing this man standing there, and he continued to walk across the road. Well, my mom told my dad about it when we got home. And long story short, that man had been dead for like 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And he had a house that wasn't there anymore, and a barn that wasn't there anymore. And he said, think about it. Where was he going? Why would he be right there in that spot? And so I asked some customers that later that week that grew up around there, and they said the same thing. Oh, so that they knew his name. He used to dress like that. And that guy didn't exist anymore, yet we saw him doing what he used to do. So that kind of kind of twisted my mind up a little bit too, you know, because he didn't look like a ghost. I mean, he didn't look.
Oh, he was pretty solid.
He was solid. Yeah, it like I said, the lights were reflecting back off the yellow, and uh, yeah, so there was nothing about that was
Wow.
ghosty until we found out the real story. You know, when we got home.
Wow. See, I've only encountered when I see them, it's like a thick, like cloud usually. I mean, sometimes like whatever, but you know you can put your hand through it. It's not like
Yeah,
a solid, but I've
right.
seen one time at a native grounds, I saw a guy, and he was like, I was like, that is the most like whatever you want to call it, solid ghost I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, whoo.
Have you ever had times where you look up and you see something, you do a double take and it's gone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something moves. There's something that I had that was moving so quick, I couldn't get a hand. I mean, I've never seen anything move like, and why it moved strategically, because spirits don't usually, when they come through, it's like, sometimes they're just all over the place a little bit. For me, anyway. It's not
Yeah.
like, I'm talking to you right now. It's like I'm getting, it's a little bit different of a transmission. But yeah, there's been times I'm like, there's something that was moving so fast, and you feel, when you're being watched, it's like you feel that, like,
Yes.
and then it came behind me, and it was almost turning into a game. And I thought, is this a ghost or is this a cryptid? Like, I don't know that much about, I mean, I do know enough, but if you've never experienced something, I feel like you don't know enough about it. Right. And
Yeah.
I've never physically seen it right there and felt it. So
We were at a hotel in Wyoming. It might have been Cheyenne,
I used to
and
work in Cheyenne.
it was the old hotel. It was supposed to have been haunted. And they had a new. It was
The
close to the
hitching
boot.
post.
It was close to the boot place, the real big boot store, right across the road.
Did they have like I think you're talking about Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Maybe Cheyenne. Yeah. Yep.
I used to work there. I was a flight dispatcher for Great Lakes, and we
Oh my
always
God.
stay at the hitching post. So I'm trying to think in my head, like, 'cause it's not that big.
Yeah, but they built on a conference center. It's newer there, and they have the list of all the famous people that have stayed there, and then they, like, don't go to this room because we have issues with ghosts and all that. Well, I don't focus on all that, and we went down the new part, and I was in the corner, and my wife was behind me, and I'm always keeping my eyes on everything, and I'm looking at some real Native American dress, shirts, clothes, shoes, and some of them are in, the shadow boxes. And I was reading about it, and I saw a man walking down the hall towards us. Well, I'm in a strange place. So right as he started, he was coming in between my wife and I. And so I turned around to say something to her, not just so I could keep my eyes on him. Right.
Mhm.
And so I came up with I turned around to say something to her, and he wasn't there. And
Ooh.
she looked at me like, "What is it?" I'm like, you're not gonna believe this." And so he walked like a man. It was carrying itself like a man. But yet when I turned around, there's nobody. The two long hallways were in the corner, and there's no place to hide. So I don't know, some of
Do you
these.
think it's like an imprint or a residual, like is it doing the same thing? It's not really aware of you every single day kind of thing, or
Possibly, I don't know for sure, but I didn't feel threatened. It was just, that's how I do. I try to keep an eye on the family and all that. So,
yeah, oh yeah.
and I may say something stupid, but it's making it look like I'm turning around talking to her. So I just turn to. I don't like people behind me anyway,
Mhm.
and especially strangers. And
Right.
yeah, that was odd. Nothing else happened there, but you could feel certain areas of the hotel that just felt off, and that's funny that you know exactly where I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I always find the haunted areas, like that's my entertainment when I go places. But no, I didn't.
One of the wildest places we ever went to, my mom and I took her on a bucket list trip. She always wanted to go to Arkansas to the diamond mine, and kind of dig for diamonds and all that. And we didn't find anything, but we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I didn't know the history of Hot Springs. It was actually the original Vegas with all the mobsters and everything that comes along with that. It was pretty rough town. and we stayed at the Arlington Hotel. Just we picked it because it was really pretty. It was probably 100 years old at the time or better. And the inside, they kept it close to the same. They had period music playing, and we got a room. We went to the 7th floor, and there was multiple things that happened at that place, but you could feel it. And then we didn't know much about it. We went down to get something to eat there on the main street, and this waitress being nice, like, "Oh, y'all just get into town?" I'm like, "Yeah." And my mom jokingly said, "Well, I think we checked into a haunted hotel." She said, "Oh, the Arlington?" And she said, "As long as you're not on the 7th floor, you'll be okay." We're like on the 7th floor, and we're like, "Oh Lord!" But
oh my gosh, that's funny.
I had my back to the window, waiting on her, and I had my hat on, and I'm texting a friend. And the bathroom is a small room with 2 single beds, and all the original little 1-inch tile. It's just everything was all original. And so I'm standing there, and I hear somebody laugh in the bathroom, and I thought it was her. And I look up to say, "What's so funny?" Well, she's standing right here beside me, and the look on her face is crazy. So now I know she's probably heard what I heard. And so I played it cool. I said, "What were you laughing about?" And she said, "That wasn't me. That came from the bathroom." So now I've confirmed what I thought I heard. So now I have to go into the bathroom to make sure somebody hadn't snuck in on us. There's nobody there. It was clearly a man laughing, deep laugh. And, but there's other stuff. She didn't sleep that night. She left the light on and she had things. She felt like they were tugging on her hair and stuff like that. So, that place, she wants to go back. I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to invite anything to come home with me.
Yeah.
There's probably some terrible things happened in Hot Springs, and there's some stories. If you look into the history of it and what it was used for during one of the world wars, and there's people that came up missing or died because of the gangsters, and all that money flying around and all. So yeah, that's something. Al Capone.
We have ties here. The right across the bridge in East Dubuque, they have tunnels. And I was just talking about this. You can go down every single tunnel and up to the bar. But what's also weird is it goes across under the Mississippi River. And then to the other side of Dubuque. And he went through, they have a room still, and you go through the safe. So they have like the safe in the wall to get into the room, and that's where he would have been.
Did Alec, what's his name? Baggins, Zach.
Zach.
Did they go there one time?
Zach, they were at the Eidenberg Manor. I know that he and Ghost Hunters went there, and then I do believe, I'm not sure if they're down at Hotel Julian. They might have been,
because I remember a tunnel that they were talking about.
Oh yeah, the tunnels here, the system, it is so and I said it's crazy, but I said I don't know if they were actually built for Al Capone or Al Capone used the tunnels were built. Yeah, because Chicago's really close to here.
Okay,
and that's kind of the old mafia.
Probably running bootleg liquor. That's
I had my great grandparents were bootleggers.
I've got. Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I know people around here, the families are like rich, and nobody now knows how they got rich originally.
Oh God!
Yeah. It was usually either tobacco or liquor or both. And I remember as a kid, this county was dry, and I would be 3 or 4 years old. My mom and dad would pull up at this house that had a drive-through window, and they're like, "What do you want?"
My grandpa had a service station. That's how he wheeled and dealed it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness.
My daddy got caught hauling because he worked hard. He had a good job, but back then, this one place that, they had bought a house and grew up really poor, and they started going on strike and laying people off. And so he would work with his brothers, but he could make more money going to the next county and loading up his Impala with liquor than he could work in 2 weeks. So every now and then when somebody needed something, he would go, and he got pulled over, and he just got lucky. He got lucky, and they passed the county line beer joint, and the cop thought that was the county line, but he pulled my dad out and beat him up a little bit, and you're in trouble. He said, you crossed the county line. He said, that's the county line beer joint. He said, you see that green sign way down there at the bridge? That's the actual county line. So he let him go. And funny story, years later, that guy got elected sheriff, and my dad, he talked to me. He hired me. He's the one that hired me. He's the one that was going to send my dad away. He hired me. So it was, there's a lot of history here with all of that and what comes along with it. There was pretty rough people.
Well, it's crazy because I said the government during those days of the Prohibition were passing out alcohol that was poisoned. It's just like, man, it's like you just one way or another. So hats off. I came from bootleggers. I always say that they're taught us, a little bit about life in the government. I guess I don't know.
Well, some of these stories, I joke a lot of times. I'll say, well, let me see if the statute of limitations has run out.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, look,
I'll get back to you.
Moonshine and bootleg liquor was currency back in the day. A lot of people really didn't sell it. They traded it with other people for supplies. It's just like that's true. The loggers, people, ginseng hunters. I grew up doing, around a lot of that. And, times were tough, and you did what you had to do. And it's.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like, it's not like, it's really, it comes off the land. I mean, that's something that's really crazy that they did, but it's all about the regulations. Look at what they're doing now. Like, it's just all about gaining control and holding the regulations, but you're right. They did. I mean, they lived through some pretty tough times. And you don't forget that. It's just like that was a way for them to, they had rations. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, that's a bartering tool, like you said.
Yep.
I see nothing wrong with it.
You know all about that. I'm not going to. We talk about that later.
Yeah.
I remember we went to, you go to Gatlinburg and they have these old Smokies moonshine and all this, and some of us older guys are sitting around. They give you little samples or whatever, and they're stepping up the strength of it, and we get to the highest strength. We knock it back. Like, and they're like, everybody else is choking. They're like, you guys, you grow up around here. Like, yeah.
We know.
I learned about the blue flame stuff a long time ago. You see this stuff on TV where they take and they shake it and they look at the little devils in it and tell you about what proof it is, and they're real close. I grew up around people like that. That's in the past, though. That's in the past. I used to joke around. I bartended, and I'm not even telling you all the stupid stuff that we used to do, and we think it was funny. And I'm like, I tell it now, and I'm like, man, I probably maybe that was I don't know, but yeah, you really don't have the leeway to do fun stuff. And I'm not that was fun, and you should do that all the time, but there were some funny moments. Now, Coley, kind of soften it up for everybody. It was fun.
I know. Poor Gary's a recovering alcoholic, and I'm telling you how fun this is.
It's fun drinking that fifth of 190 proof Everclear and then riding in freezing weather too.
Oh, Lord.
No, there should have been my uncle used to drink the Everclear. We make the jungle juice out of it. Somebody had it in the trunk of their car. They lined it with the garbage bags or something.
I drank it straight out of the bottle. I drank a fifth at a time.
Then
climb on a motorcycle in 10, 15 degrees weather.
Oh man, thought you were warm.
You thought you were warm. God.
The only experience I ever had with the Everclear, they made that punch like you're talking about, Coley. And one of my buddies came back there. He said, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "The dog." He said, "We don't have a dog." I'm like, "There's a dog."
Well, now you know why I'm a recovering alcoholic, because I drank too much of that.
You could have diluted rubbing alcohol down just a smidge. That is no joke at all. They can't even sell Everclear. You have to go across the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we used to buy it here, no problem. I don't know if you still can or not. Like I said, it's been over 40 years since I drank.
I think I've seen it.
That was one of my favorite drinks, was Everclear.
Well, and today's kids do stupid stuff on social media, and you remember the 151 Bacardi, I'm sure, being a bartender.
Yeah.
They don't sell that anymore because of some of the dumb stuff the kids were doing. But
Ooh.
I think I've got a little bottle back here just for. I don't hardly drink anymore either. But if I see something, the guy was having a closeout sale. He found some in the back. It was a small bottle. I just got it for memories, you know. So I mean, I might could put it
Yeah.
in my car and use it.
Right.
Oh, it
You might
makes
need to. There we go.
it makes it good to pour on your cuts and stuff to clean them.
It still is. Yeah, I guess if you can't one way, why not absorb it into the skin the other? Does it
I've
help?
done,
Yeah,
I've done that.
and like I
With a
said,
little
it's almost
dye
alcohol.
bottle?
Oh,
Oh
me. So
man.
y'all, we're making everybody thirsty.
You know, I said I goes through my head is the Mad Dog 2020 and like the
Oh,
Purple Passion and the you know, like back in the day, I'm like, man, those Mad Dog 20. Whew,
yeah.
like what were we doing? It
I
didn't
know.
even.
I saw some in a gas station a while back, not here, in another state for sale, and I just walked right. I didn't even want to look at it. I'm like,
I know. I think I'm still hungover. I have like flashbacks from it back
right.
in the day. Oh my god, it was horrible.
And y'all, disclaimer: no, these stories I'll tell. I wasn't drinking, so
Yeah,
and I kind of
Gary
wish.
bust them out.
Yeah,
This show is for entertainment purposes only.
yeah,
Do
and
not
Hey,
try
every
and
time I go to
recreate these.
Walmart, I have to stay away from that section of the store.
I don't blame you. It's and look, it really we're joking, but yeah, if it can be bad. It can be bad. I grew up around people though that um could drink a little bit and be okay. Some of them couldn't. You stay away from them, but um somebody else talking
Well,
about Mad Dog 2020.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll bring back some.
Oh Lord.
I had a guy tell me one time that, you might drink socially for the rest of your life and be fine,
Hmm.
but then someday you might pick up a drink and take one drink of it and be right back where you were to start
Yeah,
with.
yeah. Don't want that to
And
happen.
that scared me to death. I won't even drink socially. I'm sorry, but I
Yeah,
don't want to be back passed out on the side of the road and not even know where I'm at.
yeah.
I don't want
No.
no more to do with that.
I totally understand. Like I said, I worked at the jail for a couple years, and um, I quit drinking anything for a few years because of what I saw. You know, and I didn't like the smell of it because on the weekends I was struggling and fighting with people that had too much, and so it
Oh yeah,
you
the beer
know
muscles. Oh yes,
yeah.
the beer
Oh my
goggles.
God.
I guess I don't know which is worse.
Let me ask you this, Coley. In the movies you see where the temperature drops in the room, you see your
Mhm.
breath, and you know that don't just happen in the movies. Have you ever had anything happen? I had it happen
Oh
one time.
yes, oh
Yeah,
yes. When the
and
chill
that's
comes through, it's really
yeah.
it's chilling to say the least. But
It
yes.
I was that house we lived in when I was a kid.
Oh
We,
yes, let's get to that house. So you grew up, like, did we preface it like Roger grew up in a haunted house, right? It's fair
yeah,
enough to say. And activity, all sorts of activity, and
yeah.
it hadn't just been you. I'll let you
No,
talk.
no. It was anybody that was there, long enough. When it was so bad, I drive by it. I know where it's at, and my son's like, "You need to go ask the people if they ever had it." I said, "I'm not stepping on that property. I'll talk to them in the road. I'm not getting close to that house." But so they had there was a couple of small rooms in the back hall, and apparently a guy that lived there before was a photographer, and he had said it was a dark room, and he had everything set up, but he left the sinks and the other stuff there. um, but my mom made it my playroom, and you're talking about during the summer, didn't have the best air conditioning, early 70s back then, and um, she would, like go, and I felt weird in there. I didn't want to be in that room, and she's like, "You need to stay in here and play with your toys." And I'm standing in the room looking around. It wasn't very big, but it looked big to me. And like I felt like somebody was watching me, and all of a sudden the temperature dropped enough that I could see my breath. And then once that happened, something felt bad wrong. So I ran, and my mom's like, what are you doing? So I'd get in trouble, and she'd push me back in there, and I would run out. Finally, she quit. I wouldn't stand there.
So it
I
didn't
had
attack her, but it was more because they usually will attach themselves. Like my sister
Yeah.
one time wore her hair up, and it really related with it because of the time. So it must. That's interesting.
Well, I started having a reoccurring nightmare 2 to 3 times a week. It was terrifying. And it would start out, it was okay, and then I would be floating with a kid and blonde hair, blue eyes, and kind of a bowl cut, and he would wave at me, and then it would get to be terrifying. And I'll skip through the end where I'm standing where my bedroom is pitch dark. I couldn't see my arm, and I had my other arm, and my dad had a towel, and I was holding the towel, and he was screaming, "Don't let go, don't let go." And this kid had me by the wrist saying, "Come play with me, come play with me." And right as I would start slipping off of my grip on my dad's towel, I would wake up in cold sweats and run to my mom and dad's bedroom. And
that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
So this happens so much. It plays like a movie when I think about it. Well, you fast forward about 10 or 11 years, we had a Halloween party. We moved out in the country. And so they're like, tell some ghost stories. Well, I said, well, Rod's is out. I don't get into that. So as I was walking off, my aunt turned to my mom and said, tell about that haunted house y'all lived in where the boy accidentally hung himself.
Oh,
that's the first time I'd ever heard that. I stopped cold. Like, wait, what? You talking about beside the water tower? And they're like, yes. So the story was he was playing in that same room.
Oh God.
And he got something tangled around his neck playing and fell and got wedged between maybe 2 of the pieces of furniture, the sink or whatever.
Was he trying to lure you to the side or his side? Do you think?
I don't know. I know that I'm a grown man now, and you couldn't pay me enough to step in that house.
That's what I think. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, and I could have went all my life and not found that out because they didn't talk about that stuff around kids. And just because my aunt said that made me think about the whole situation different. Was he trying to get me? What was happening?
Yeah, he wanted to playmate over on that side. Are you? Not today.
No, and thinking about it later, how would a 3-year-old know what the bird's eye view of the house would be floating on the ceiling? You know what I mean? Like yeah. I
think there's obviously something more there. And why is he stuck there? Because usually kids are stuck, but they're stuck because there's something there. Like one time I went in, a girl, it was her uncle, and that's why she was trapped in that place. So I always think like maybe they're just kind of doing the dirty work. I don't know, but that's scary that he was tugging, and he probably could enter into your dream state.
It was. And what was funny, you talk about laying a trap. The dream, it was so real, and it was the exact same every time, every detail.
Were you a sleepwalker?
No, never. Not that I know of. Never had an issue with that.
God, you probably wouldn't be here. Yeah.
No, yeah. I would wake up in a sweat, but the thing was, the dream started so innocent and nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I won't get into it. It's a kid's mind
lure
thing,
you along the way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, it was just terrifying. But thank goodness I resisted. I was screaming no, whatever. And
how old was the kid?
Probably around 5 or 6 years old.
And do you know anything about the family there? Because this doesn't sound like just your average family or child.
No, didn't know anything about them, but I asked them what he looked like, and they said he was blonde haired, blue eyed. So that was enough for me. I don't want to continue that conversation because one of those sentences that stops you in your tracks and just chills go all through you. Because at that time I didn't tell my mom about the temperature changing.
And then if you can see your breath, it's not good. It's not good.
We heard sounds. We had things moved. There was things missing. And what's wild is I lived there till I was almost 4, and right now I could draw you every detail
Your
inside
memory.
that house. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it I was scared of the place, and you're talking. I think that's one of the first times that I felt like something or somebody was watching me, and I get that now, but rarely, but it still happens, and it takes you back to the
To that
original time.
moment, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. There's some things you won't ever forget, and like you said, I remember, about 4 is when I had my real like, that I remember it was I could feel it holding my hand, and then when it
Mhm.
left, it went with a whoosh, and the fan went off, and I remember running and looking. It was at my grandma's house, and she had the digital clocks in it, and, like, they'd have to be blinking, like 12, because that's what happened when your power went out, so I knew it wasn't the power. But
Right.
that point, I started seeing auras, but some of the now that I look back, I remember there was, a time my cousin and I, and all of a sudden we heard everything, something bang or something, and all of a sudden we looked, and every kitchen, like, cabinet was open. And remember as a kid, we're like, "Let's get out of here." Like, I was maybe like 7 at the time. But just I don't know if they prey on the darkness, if it's something like, because I felt like at that age, I didn't really have the tools I have now to combat it.
Right.
But
And
yeah, wow.
but you have experiences like there was one time we lived in an old house, and I was probably 8 or 9, and my sister's 3 years younger than me, and we were standing in the doorway. The Our bedroom, we had 2 beds, and the bedroom was behind us. The living room, my mom and dad's in the living room, and the whole house shook. It's like something landed on it and it shook, and we ran into the living room right there, not 5 rooms over, like, right, we could see them when it
Mhm.
happened, and we both took off running towards them at the same time and looked around. They're like, "What are y'all doing?" We're like,
I know,
"The whole
yeah.
the whole house shook." "No, it didn't." I'm like,
I
"How did
didn't
y'all
do
not
that.
feel that?"
Yeah. It's
The
it's crazy some of their power. I remember I was at something, you could hear it bang. I felt it, like, and I knew what it was. It was somebody guy was in urgency. He was looking for his child, but he was obviously 100 years too late. But it was just like the whole thing, and I'm like, man, they exert some energy for sure.
but 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 explain, I don't we probably can explain it, but that's kinda when I realized we heard and felt the same thing. The floor shook,
Mhm.
the walls. They're in the same house, and they didn't hear it, didn't feel it, didn't hear it, and they thought we were lying. But if I'd have been watching my kids and they both reacted to something at the same
Same
time,
time.
yeah. I know, one of the weirdest things. I've had a lot of weird stuff happen, and I can go back.
Me
This is
too.
this was in high
I
school.
love that. Yeah. I had the weirdest, yeah, if you wanna talk about the weird of the weird, it's right here. I'm sure we
It's
can
all
add
right.
to it. You're
So
good.
so around here, I'm sure, a lot of people know, some of these houses that were built way before,
The
the Civil
1800s
War
or less.
area. Yes, and they took care of them, some of them, and, my girlfriend, I was 17, and I had a car, and she needed a ride after school where she babysat in one of these houses, and and my friend was with me. We were gonna go take her down there and go back to my house. So she had been telling us about she didn't like the house because things would move. She would see them move. She would hear strange things. And I'm like, I didn't want to get into that because I was just paying attention. Well, she didn't want to go that day. And we went in, none of the kids hadn't got there yet. None of the family was there. There was 2 kids and a mom and dad that lived in that house, and she had a key. And when you walk in, there was a stairway right up to the top, and there was 2 big rooms upstairs to right and left. The right door was open and the sunlight was coming through, so there was no shade on the window. And so we're looking around, there are no cars in the driveway. And she's like, "I've been hearing this and that." And I was making fun. I said, "If there's a ghost in here, slam that door right now." And that thing
Boom.
on cue, boom. And
Mm.
they're like, where are you going? I said, "Not here."
I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
my buddy, he hasn't never experienced anything like that, and he's a real calm guy. He was a really good soldier, because of his calmness. And we've been into things before where he just stayed stone cold calm and helped. He looked at me like, I don't know what that was. I said, I don't care. I'm leaving. And she was like, you're going to stay here. I'm like, I'm not. I'll sit out in the car, but I'm not coming in here. But that was the first time that I'd had anything physically moved. The other things were either I would see it, feel it, or whatever. But that was the first time anything physically moved. Now the second, it's been very few times, but my daughter and I were on vacation in Gatlinburg, and I was staying at Reagan Inn Resorts, room 110. And I was awake. I worked at nights, and we were going to leave the next day. So, at 3:00, I'm in the morning, I'm awake, and I'm laying on my back. I've got the cover and the comforter over my feet. My feet are up. It's dark. She's sleeping on another bed, and I'm like, okay, which way should we go back? And she hasn't seen this area and that, and I'm planning the trip back home. And I was going to get up and take a shower, maybe an hour and a half or so. So I'm sitting there wide awake, and something grabs me by the left big toe. It felt like a finger and a thumb, and squeezed really hard, snatched my leg off the bed. Now, it scares me, but I come up. I got my daughter in the room. I'm ready to, take care of things if I can. Flip the light on, and there's nobody there. Now, thinking about it later, my foot moved under the cover. The cover didn't move with it. I don't know how that's possible. You know what I mean? It's like, and that freaked me out.
What do you mean, like the cover moved, but your foot didn't move?
So if I grab Gary's toe, it's under the cover, I'm grabbing the cover also. And if I pull, the cover's moving.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
The cover, it didn't move. My leg moved under it. And it was definitely a thumb and a pointer finger, and it was strong. That got under my skin a little bit, and so I turned the lights on. It was so bad. I looked in the mini fridge to see if anything was hiding in there.
I thought you were looking for a sky bottle.
When that happens to you, you don't know what to think. So all the lights are on. She said, "What are you doing, Daddy?" I said, "We're going to take a shower right quick. We're going to leave early."
Yeah, we're gonna pack up and just get on out of here.
Get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Thank goodness I felt a few things that felt like it walked by me. You feel the air, or whatever, but I've never, that's the two times something physically happened.
Have you ever gotten, I have some really good paranormal pictures of places that I've been. I should pull them up and show you. One, I can't figure out if it's Gary seated. It's like coming out of a cocoon, like almost. And I didn't know if it would be a cryptid or people thought it was paranormal, but I've never seen anything like this before. I've never.
I told you what I thought it was.
Yeah, you thought it. What did you tell me again? What you thought? You thought it was alien related.
Yeah, I think it's an alien.
I'm always curious. It's probably one of the. But I mean, there was a group there, and like you said, Roger. Sometimes, and even with the UFOs, I've heard this that. So they're just out of the proximity. They won't experience it, but they've gotten closer to some experiencers. Sometimes then it will pop on. But I said, why is it that other people, and like even if they were experiencing it, like they had been there, but then you tell them about it, they're like, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, yes, it did. It's like a known thing. And I'm like, you were and it's like, no. They're like, I'm thinking, what is going on here? You know you were there.
And what's wild is in the past, in different time periods, if you talked about stuff like this, you'd either get burned at the stake or shunned from the village, and even now. But what I've noticed is the people that I talk to and have got to know are usually highly intelligent people, and they're just as normal as anybody else. And almost it's the opposite of what we were told. Oh, They're crazy. Oh, they're off their rocker. Or, I know several people here. What's wild is, you talk about synchronicity and things happening, and you find out later that, for instance, when we lived in that haunted house, the house in front of us, and then the house down to the left was a rock house. It was the oddest looking house I'd ever seen. It was rock siding. And I met my buddy Don years ago, probably in the late 70s. He was a game warden here, and he's had Bigfoot experiences, and he's had alien UFO experiences and all that. And he was talking about a guy that was not very well educated, but they were he used to investigate for MUFON, and they would go take reports back in the late 70s, early 80s. And he named this guy's name, and I'm like, why does that sound familiar to me? He said, well, he lived up there close to the water tower, water tank in the rock house. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So that's the guy that everybody said he was crazy because he always talked about aliens. Well, he took Don and another guy, talked to him, and he was explaining the propulsion system in the UFO and everything that he saw. They took him, they called a guy that was well known back then, and they had a meeting, and he said, can you draw this out for me? There was I think there was a scientist there, and he drew this stuff out, and they're like, where did you get your education? He said, I didn't finish high school, basically, kind of, sort of. And they're like,
wow.
that's so intricate. How do you know that? And when he started telling that, then they were like, this could be real. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you see it. It's like in a cocoon. Like you can see I'll pull up a couple more. I'm like, I've never been able to. I was listening, but I
Oh, is that a tree limb? Is that's a tree?
It's right. Yeah, there's a tree that's right there, and we're at a cemetery, and that's like now I did like make that one. I'm trying to find one of the, because I think I obviously was kind of toying with the color on that one, but there's a better one where you can see that's under the tree, but it almost looks like there's two like faces. Like that one clearly has a nose that's like not human.
Well, the first thing when people send me pictures all the time, I'm not an expert, but the first thing I would look at in an anomaly, because a lot of times people will take pictures at just the right angle, and the flash will reflect in the slick, smooth surface of the stone, and it'll have granite and crystals. I don't see any reflection off the stone at all.
No, and look at this one. The eyes, like, can you see it up towards the tree? Like, it almost. I feel like. I don't know. I've looked at these so much, but
see, if it was smoke, you could probably see through it. That looks almost solid, but not solid, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, here's one where one of the people, I was trying to tell her, I'm like, whoa, what is that? So she went over and she's getting a look at, she didn't see it as clear as what I did, but you can see it right there. But if you look up and I got another one behind over here looking, but there's it almost like two glowing eyes up here towards the top by the tree limb.
That's odd. And there was nothing there.
No,
Wow.
And it looked like, looked like it was emerging from a tombstone is what I thought. And I was like, wow, it was so weird. Oh, it was a haunted tour too, by the way. So it was known like that there was things going on. I mean, there were weird things like the orbs, the green and red orb there too. But
if it was a regular tour, it's a haunted tour now.
Yeah, this was one of the weirdest orb experiences I've ever had in my life. It was right here.
So you could see these with your eyes?
I can see some. I could not see the full spectrum of this,
right?
But I could see them. I was like, there is a lot of activity, and you can see they're all different colors. Because if it was dust, it would have been. They wouldn't be yellow and red and orange. I mean, I was like, what is this? This is so crazy. And then it kind of started dissipating. You can see more. But I was shooting with a Nikon P1000.
And they're like the orb video that we caught. I told everybody it looked like a human cell with a nucleus and a membrane, and that looks similar.
Yes, and this one's really trippy. This is like an old picture that you can't see it that well. I wish I could blow it up. Oh crap! But there's like something. I mean, it's clearly like a head of some. I mean, it's really bizarre, but I don't think it's going to let me get it any bigger. But I took a picture of a picture. It's actually bigger here, but. Yeah, some of the ones that I've gotten, at the Edinburgh Manor. This thing. I mean, what is that? You can almost see like a nose. They call it the Joker down in the basement.
There's a church. All right, if you ever watch y'all in chat, if you ever watch Alan Jackson's music video, what's the name of that Amy song, I believe, where he's in the church in the graveyard. I grew up around that church. And
oh wow!
So it's from the 1800s, and a family owns the property, so it stays locked up. But they talked them into letting them do, like you're talking about, get a small group and go and kind of investigate. Well, a couple of my friends went that are not really believers, but they thought it'd be cool, So she sent me a picture after they came back. Had digital cameras. Well, actually, she posted on Facebook and tagged me in it. And said, "What do you see here?" And it looked like a purplish old lady in period clothing with a dress and whitish hair and all, sitting beside a person. And I'm like, was there anybody there? She said, "No." She said, "I took tons of pictures, and this is the only one like this." And there was a guy that I guess she tagged. He said, "I'm the one in a green shirt, standing right behind that image there that you can see," and there was nobody there. So he confirmed. But it was it looked kind of like that's the first picture you showed, where it was not solid, but it wasn't see-through either. It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
And there were no reflections. There were no anything that I could see that would cause a light anomaly at all. And people confirmed nobody was sitting there.
Wow.
The bad thing was it scared the lady in the picture that was sitting there. It was right beside her on the church pew. So, no, I'm not going back.
Some people are really, and I've stayed in some they have like overnights, and I've gone and stayed in some of the most haunted places in America. And it was like, I never, ever was a fearful moment for me. And I thought the moment you do, or you fear it, or it attaches, that's when you're at risk for bringing it home. But I don't have that rational fear like other people do. I'd sit there all by myself, and I remember like the ball bouncing by, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," like I don't know. I think there's something wrong that I did not have that rational fear for him. Never have.
I'm a little different, where I'm scared before and after, but when something's going on, I kind of lock in. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do it on purpose. It's just
you become acutely aware.
Yeah, like, okay, now first off, you try to debunk it immediately. Like, is this happening? Well, and like when I got grabbed by the toe, first thing I thought was somebody picked the lock and come in on us. But that didn't make sense. Why would you grab somebody like that? And then I start looking through the room, and it left nothing at all. Man, I don't know. The deja vu thing, used to happen a lot, and dreams. But I have noticed this. I don't have nightmares much, but when I do, it's something like that. And I'm always the type in my dream. I don't know I'm dreaming, but if something's threatening me, I attack it, knowing I'm probably about to be taken out. But there was one time I woke up, and it was morning, sun coming through the bedroom was lit up, the closet door was open, and I look into the closet door, and there's a lady standing there. It looked like she'd been in a coffin for 100 years, and scowling at me. And it made me mad because it was my house. Now, I was asleep. Now here you said that I sleepwalk. I never have. But on this occasion, when I looked into the closet and I saw her scowl at me, I got up and went to grab her by the throat. And I thought, not in my house. And I think I was saying a prayer too. And I woke up. I was asleep, but I was in the closet and had my hands locked around each other like that. And so when I came to and I looked around, I'm like, I don't know what that was. I went to the bathroom, came out, went back to sleep. But I've had other things that have attacked me in my dreams. and I always attack back. I don't know why. I don't know why that, knowing that it's probably going to get me. Sorry, Gary.
Roger, did you, when you woke up like that, did you have your hands around something or just together like they were?
I was going for her neck.
Yeah, but so you didn't actually grab anything.
I didn't know. Well, when I woke up, I was standing there where her neck would have been with my hands like this. So
Yeah.
something made me react to that, and I physically got up. And but it's weird. I thought I was awake. Now I might have been, but it was odd when I realized where I was at. I didn't know how I got there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Oh, yeah, because I did it all the time. I used to, even now, believe it or not, I'll go in there and lay down and not remember going in there and laying down.
Yeah.
That happens nearly every day. And I don't drink. I don't do drugs.
I don't know. I know our mind can play tricks on, and even cameras can and all that. So
Yeah.
I've always, the way I grew up, I was taught to be honest. I've got in trouble being honest because I would get in more trouble if I wasn't. So,
Well, yeah, that's the way we were raised back in the day. It's you may get in trouble for being honest, but it's less trouble than for telling a lie.
Right.
And we were raised to be honest. So that's the way we always were.
But Gary, when that happens to you, does it freak you out any, or is you've gotten so used to it now that it's just one of those things?
I'm just so used to it. It's just one of them things. I'll wake up on the bed and not realize, not remember how I got there.
Yeah.
I don't remember going and laying down. Mm. But there's a lot of things can cause that. I mean, age, all the meds I'm on, or all the health problems I've got.
I understand.
Some of the pain pills that you take over your hip could be causing you to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, well, this was years before that, and I haven't taken a pain pill in probably almost a year now. I'm doing natural.
Good deal.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had one. They gave me 12 when I had my last surgery a year ago, February. And when those were gone, I haven't had any since.
They're stingy with them nowadays.
Oh, they are.
Coley was talking about the UFO thing, and this house that we lived in, where in Mooresville, it was an old dormitory house. There was a basement, a full basement, a main floor, and a full second floor, the same size. They used it. It was for kids back in the day. And I found out this lady, my buddy Don, I talked about earlier, introduced us. He said, you need to talk to her because she grew up in Mooresville too, and she had a lot of strange things happen. And so I was talking to her, and she had lived in that same house and moved out, and we moved in next. I didn't know them at the time. She said that her parents, she's claimed that she had been abducted, and her mom had been abducted, and she saw her floating above the bed, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I hope I'm not wrong. If I remember correctly, she said 2 grays had her, and they were carrying her outside, and they left with her for a while. And that house, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know what to think about it when she told me back then. And it was just like 3 or 4 years ago. But that UFO I saw in around 1987 was not far from that house. I mean, like a half a mile. So, and the property that it possibly went down on was her uncle's property, which they had some things happen. Something about that family drew these things. And she told me on the phone, she went to the doctor later in life and had some kind of scan done, and they found a piece of metal in her body and removed it. It was just under the skin. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know what it was. And she told me stories of, she was one of the first ones I ever heard of. Dawn was telling me before I met her that she would take the night vision and stuff, and they would look up at the sky and they would see all kind of things. Now I'm seeing where people are doing that, and you can see UFOs, crafts, or whatever moving. Lots
Oh
of them.
yeah.
So I would like to get a good thermal or good whatever and try that. I think I do anyway.
I've
Hey,
never
now
used
wait a minute,
thermal, but-
Roger. You got a good set of night vision goggles
I
or
know.
binoculars. CD gave them to you.
Yep, I know it. Yeah, I need to. I don't think it came with a charger. I got to get a charger for it.
You hadn't
Or-
figured out how to use them yet.
Well, we used them for a little bit, yeah, and but it needs charging. And Peyton told me with all the chargers that Heather's kept since 1983 that I might have something that would work.
You never know when you're going to need one of those old chargers.
That's right.
I feel like the old ones were, I'm not going to say better, but I feel like you got more on them because the new ones, I think they kind of fill in some of the, I don't know
Right.
if it's by design but it's,
Well,
yeah, it seems like
we
it
do. Well, you take just how a CD works. If you scratch a CD, though nobody probably remembers that. We do, but it blew my mind when it's like, well, if you scratch a CD, it's moving really fast, and if it doesn't have anything it inserts what it thinks should be there. Because it's really fast, so you don't hear it.
right.
So why couldn't some of these digital cameras or digital
I
whatever
agree.
do the same thing? So the old film cameras and the old 8mm and stuff probably is what we need to go back to in some of this research. But that's just my 2 cents.
I think so too. I really do. The best ones were like the disposable cameras or the things, that's when I got some of the most eerie, creepy things on there. But I agree. I'm with you on that one.
Steamboat
you ever
come in here with a ringer quote. That's funny. But
What
anyway,
did he say?
sorry.
No, I
He
got
said, you scratched my CD, you picked it up in broad daylight and scratched. I know what movie that's from.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean.
I hated that when that happened and they get a scratch on and then you get to a certain
Mhm.
point and start like, I'm like, no. And they had those things that used to put in spray stuff on there like brand new. And you can't even find those anymore, but I don't even know if CDs are, that's probably a total thing of the past.
Yeah, that's and I'm a pack rat. I've got CDs, I've got 8-tracks, I've got cassette, I've got
Oh yeah.
over 2,500 cassettes a guy was going to throw away, and I'm like, absolutely not, because I've got no
Those are
boombox.
still good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a record player, man. We've got I can
Oh
listen to
yeah.
those. Yeah. So
I just found
But,
a
I mean-
record in on Brody, my son's floor. I said, "Do you know what one of these are, Brody?" He's like, "I was laughing."
what in the world?
Yeah.
Well, I always tell people that my mind's like an 8-track, because you put an 8-track in, you get to your favorite song, and it will skip to another track, and it will skip to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way my mind works.
Hey, that's a great way of putting it. I think mine does also. It's all over the place. I remember those. Oh my gosh, those tapes, and then it gets stuck in there, and you'd have it, and it'd be like pulling. I'm like, oh, not my favorite. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, get your number 2 pencil and kind of sit there and for 8 hours and roll it back in. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Coley. So this house that I was talking about, the lady, they had alien things happen, and I remember my mom back in the day saying something was big and brown in the back field. She doesn't remember it, but they had Bigfoot activity too.
Oh, wow.
And they're still ongoing in the area. It's not far from here. There's something, I always felt like something was watching me, but not all the time. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would look over my shoulder at a specific point in the room, and I couldn't see anything. And I feel like, I'm not saying anything ever happened, but I feel like there's a memory just out of reach that maybe something might have happened. Have you ever heard anybody talk about things like that?
It's weird.
So-
But my audio, this is what's happening. I'll kind of explain it. Something in my system directly, they're trying to get access and record the screen for whatever reason is going on. This is what I'm fighting right now and keeps popping up. So I was like, what is this? No, but I was listening. So I don't know. It's saying it's trying to bypass something now and directly access it. I'm like, what is going on with
What
this computer? Like, I
and it
don't
always
know.
happens during a show. It's like, what is this going on? And I'm
Why
glad
does it
we
want to
got
record it? It's already, they could watch it if they wanted
Men,
to.
Men in Black.
Yeah, just to throw you off. So go back, because I heard what you said, and then when I saw that, it was like that squirrel moment, you know.
So,
And so I just kind of like went blank, but I was
are you?
listening when he
But
said it.
she didn't hear the whole story about the UFO in that house, though, Roger. She got kicked out in that while you were telling it.
The UFO story I told on the last show happened like less than a half a mile years
And
later.
you said you could actually see like in windows, right?
No, that was the one. Yeah, there was two.
Okay.
There was one that was silver and had windows, and you could see what looked like humanish figures looking out, like backlit. So you could see the silhouettes. My mom and dad saw that. That's the one I thought was a dream when I was a kid. And then my dad, before he passed away, was telling somebody the story. And I'm like, wait, that wasn't a dream? He said, no, that was me and you and your mom before your sister was born. And I'm like, I remember that. I remember it right now. And it was, I don't know how many feet it was off the ground. It wasn't real high. And it was just cruising. And my dad said, you remember we could see what looked like people? And I'm like, I do remember that. Now this one,
interesting.
This one was the orange one I saw that came in, dropped down, and then went out into space. But it was, a couple tenths of a mile from that house. And, she, what I was telling, I think when you got kicked out, the lady I met later had lived in that house before me, and her whole family had, the one that found the implant piece of metal and stuff like that.
Where was that? I was going to ask you, where on the body was it?
I don't remember. I was thinking about that today, and I'm like, God, I'm thinking it was in her arm somewhere, but I'm not sure. I would probably, I can't tell you 100%.
Just because I've known people pull them even out of their nose before. Mm-hmm. I've heard this quite a few times, so I was just interested. They move, though. Did you know that?
Well, no, but that would make sense. It's like scanning.
That's true.
So she remembers her mom being taken by, I believe she said, grays, and she said it wasn't like they was holding her up. It's like she was up and they had their hands down, took her out and left with her. So there was something strange about her brothers that came along after that. His blood. I don't remember what it was, but
it all goes back to the blood with ET. I think it really does.
It was a real strange story, but what I was asking you, we lived in that house later, and I would sometimes wake up and look at a certain spot in that house, like something was standing there, but I couldn't see it.
Did you ever see the darker than dark? Did it look like did you ever see a shadow or?
Not there that I remember. I have seen that. And like the dark makes a shadow kind of sort of, like the light don't go through it,
Right.
But
you're in like a pitch black room and you can see a shadow. That's not normal.
Yeah. And my mom got struck by lightning years ago.
Really?
And after that happened, she started seeing dark figures. But she said when she looks right at them, they're gone. Now,
does it affect electricity?
Does she?
Like even before this happened, I'm just wondering if she's kind of like that.
Not that I know of, but I know I do. I've almost gotten hit. But
wow, I mean, for two people in one family to almost get hit by lightning, that's crazy.
Well, it was my dad, her, and two other men were playing golf, and the storm went through, and they call it a blue streak. It can get you from over 50 miles away. They let everybody start playing again, and it hit in the ground right there. And my dad and the other guy went airborne flipping, and her and this other guy got locked to the ground. They had the worst, I guess, after effects of it. He ended up having a heart attack later, and she had things going on. They kind of attributed it to that possibly, causing it.
Yeah.
But they moved out of the house. There was nothing ever happened in that house on the hill. And after that, she was telling me about weird stuff like the stereo coming on by itself. She was up in a room. She had a sewing room upstairs in a little nook up there.
Oh,
Or
she was
whatever.
probably a paranormal hotspot. They love that energy. That's what they're going for.
She's had a lot of things. I remember one time a teenager got killed close to our house. He was driving. He hit a milk truck. They were backing in to get the milk, and the guy come around the curve too fast, hit the truck. Well, we didn't go to the funeral, and they called him Red Man because he had red hair and everything. And she was outside washing her car a few weeks later, and she heard something got her attention. I don't know if it was gravel crunching or what it was, and she looked over in the driveway, and there he stood.
Oh yeah.
And she looked back. She did a double take, and he was gone. But she knew what he had on, and he didn't dress like that, right? He was old country boy. He dressed like
they had him. What he had him. Okay.
So
He's probably buried in it.
I said, listen, what you need to do, don't tell anybody, and ask Uncle Buddy. He went to the funeral. Ask him what he had on. I want to be there when it happens. He had the same thing on.
Oh yeah.
Because my mom told me, and then she asked him, and he told her what he had on. So she's had things happen like that. I don't know everything. I don't think she shared a lot with me early on, but now it's like she's got into reading the Ethiopian Bible with the Book of Enoch and all that lately.
Oh wow.
She said it came in. She sat down. She lives alone. She sat down, had her big reading lamp on, and she looked down at the book, and a shadow came over the book, left to right, and she looked up and she didn't see anything. So,
does she know you know what I think? She probably didn't know how to tune it in. Like, cause there's a way to like kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like if I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking past them at a focal point. Right. That's how I can get them to like, it's almost like turning the
kind of unfocus your eyes a little bit, maybe.
Right. You have to look past and like that stare. I can shift really easy if I want to. I'm like, it's like if somebody's standing here and I'm just looking right over their shoulder, and I just that look, and that's the focal point, and that's where I'll see them.
I can do that. I don't know. Nobody ever told me how. It's just I've noticed over my lifetimes. A lot of times, if you're looking at something you can't see it, you have to unfocus your eyes a little bit. And that's weird that you say that, because that's happened to me, and it's a natural thing.
I take my glasses off and everything. I'm like, and when I was doing group therapy, I would find that moment, like I was in there and I was listening, but you know how you kind of like that stare, all sorts of people would pop up in that. It was crazy. And I just kind of etch them down. It wasn't that I wasn't listening, but it was kind of like, when you're looking and you're at a speaker, and it's like you're 2 hours in and you're looking, that's when they just really start popping up. It's kind of like unfocusing that. I don't know why it is like that, but you're right.
Well,
yeah, it's a good way
I'm glad I don't have. I tell people all the time, I have stories, but if this happened 24 hours a day, I'd be in a nut house somewhere. Because it gets to
be a lot, doesn't it? When I was growing up, that's when my aunt had taken me. My mom, when I was growing up, was so freaked out by this, and it comes from her side of the family, the site does, that she wanted to call a priest, Roger, and have, I'm like, a Catholic priest. I went to a Catholic school. I knew what this was all about. I was like, there's no need for this. Like, you're taking this a little far is what I thought. So I started writing, like, I had a dream, as always, I had a dream. And then it got to a point, like once I was about 13, that it really skyrocketed. And I'd be standing there and the stuff would be happening. And I'm like, how do I not, it's like, how am I going to ignore this? Because they would come. And so I was part of this group with this local college professor, but there was a few of us mediums, and they taught us how to kind of regulate some of it. Because they were coming at all times. They want you to go do something. They want you to call somebody. They'd want you to go take a gift to somebody's. It was really like so I learned how to get rid of it, because there was a point I did not have control of it. It was very odd. I feel like that kid out of that movie.
So,
hey, Roger.
Yes, sir.
How do you know you're not in a nut house?
I don't.
I think we're all in a nut house.
Yeah,
Well, I would hope they'd have better medication or something, take us a little further out on this journey. But I've not really struggled with it because if you're born a certain way, you just Mhm.
like Gary said,
It's
you get used
normal.
to it.
It's
It's
normal.
normal.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like not to. So people say that, I'm like, "Oh, do you really? Do you have a normal life? I'll trade you for a couple days." Like, mind you, you haven't seen any spirits, you haven't whatever. Let's trade for a couple days. You go and you let me know how you like it
I'll tell you one that scared
all the
me.
time.
So I was driving down the road one day, and a long time ago, it was probably 17, 18 years old, 17. And I met one of my neighbors. He was a year older than me, and he was in his truck or he's in somebody's truck. And when we met, I always wave. He didn't wave, which that's odd because everybody always throws their hands up around here. But when I looked in the cab of his truck at him, he looked like he had some kind of light enveloping him inside that cab that
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
normal. And when we met each other and he went past me, I looked up in the mirror like, that was weird. And it's almost like he was staring straight ahead. He didn't acknowledge, he knew my vehicle.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh boy.
within you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 weeks, he had a car wreck and died.
Mm.
Now, a little while after that, um, I met a kid that was younger than me, and he was in his truck, and the same thing
Oh.
happened in a different part of the county. I'm like, what in the world? He went missing, and they found him. They found him later. He had got out to. He had a flat out four-wheeling by himself, and the truck fell on his arm, and he died of exposure. They couldn't find him.
Oh.
But within a couple of weeks of that happening and me seeing that, they were gone. Now I see these movies. I hear people talking because I'm interested in, the ghost stuff. I know they're TV shows and all that, but you can pick up things and you'll hear them
Mm-hmm.
mention something, and then you can go look and dig into it. I've heard people talking about auras and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't see that, but
Gary does sees them.
2 times that happened, and it wasn't good. So that scared me too.
Oh, so you're picking up. I'll have the death dream. There's something that I'll see, and it looks like what I'd probably describe as a Grim Reaper, and its face doesn't stay one, like it shifts and changes all over. And that I know within like 3 days, something's going to happen, something very bad, life changing, and it's going to I don't exactly know who it's going to happen to, but Brody's dad, when he died, I was getting the strangest and having all this stuff up until I thought it was I was so convinced, and here he died. It was him who died 2 days later. There's like, you have that, but I can also sense when people are pregnant, if they're going to have it. So that must be your way of sensing it then.
You know what I used to do to freak people out? We'd have, when I was younger, a lady would be pregnant or somebody close to my age, and when's your due date? And they would tell me, and I'm like, no, you're gonna have it within these 3 days right here. And I was right a lot, but what I was doing was looking at the moon phases. That's all I was doing.
This is not even crazy that you're saying this. When I would see a number in the sky, I would know 46. I would know that something like that. It's so weird, but stuff like that. Yeah. Why is that? It has to be like,
I don't know.
There's something to it. There is something to it.
And I never honed in on it. I never had anybody. That's why it's interesting talking to people that know a little bit. And the way I am, Coley, it's the way I'm made up. I'm not going to go all in on it. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to do my own thinking, and whatever, and talking to other people. But the more I get in, that's why I said what I said on the show Sunday on here. The more I've dug into the Bigfoot thing and been out late at night in all these places around the country, and the more weird things we've had happen, and then you start digging to see what could cause that, what could cause this. And that's why people use the word rabbit hole now, and it all goes down, and it's almost like they're going into one hole eventually. and all the stuff seems to be connected, tied together, however you want to say it. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you the Bigfoot I've seen, possibly. I don't know what they are. I know the ones I've seen look like of this world, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the
Yes.
orbs, I've seen the UFOs, I've seen
Do you
weird
mean
things.
I always say with paranormal, I could put my hand through it, but ET, I could shake it if I wanted to.
Right. So
It's solid.
it's been a journey for me. I told somebody one time, I think I'm learning in reverse because I've had all this crap happen to me, and now these puzzle pieces are coming together, and it's like I meet people at different times when I'm ready for it up here. It's not my choice; it just happens.
That's how you have it set up. No, so you remember when you come in, we have this constructed. I've gone through this a bazillion times. I could not be more convinced, Roger, that when certain things, if we haven't hit them in our lives, we have what I call the point of reflection that happens that guides us. So if I haven't by this time, and that's why this year I think is so important for I'm looking for certain people that were born between a 10-year period. I'm not even joking you about this. This is how weird it has gotten, where I know that, that this is a time they'll be becoming aware that they are supposed to meet one another. It gets this bizarre, but I tried to debunk and I tried to disprove this, and I've tried every which way, and I get myself further into this journey of looking, and it's crazy. It really is crazy, but I think we do that.
Well, and the more you think about this stuff and things happen, now I probably shouldn't say this, put it out into the universe.
Go say it. I already said it.
Well, no, I don't know what would surprise me at this point. You know what I mean? It's like any kind of information that comes out. We've talked about so much weird stuff and had so much weird stuff happen that it's like if they told me that a spaceship landed over here and stole a cow last night and the cops chased them off, I'd be drinking my coffee. I'm like, okay, what else happened?
Yeah, I know, like, right. Now, I've
never seen that, but what I've seen is one come down and go behind a hill, stay down for a little bit, come back up and go into space. So
I had one come down on a road, Roger. It beat me at my own game, and it swerved and then shot off. The first one I saw was only MUFON measured to be 30 feet away, 50 foot in diameter. I was up on a hill. It was no more than 15 feet above my head. I thought, and it slowly crept over, and I was like, oh my God, there's nowhere to go. And my brother had just seen one in that area 2 weeks before then. And he told me about it, and I was like, that's cool. And he was so shook up over it. And I thought, why was he so, right. Our family, this is not abnormal for the grand scheme of things. But then when I saw it and I saw how big, and then it was like, whoa, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. That is what's happening. But I almost wonder, like you said before, is it really about the phenomenon, or is it about, what's like, are we all putting markers here so we come together or meet, or is it supposed to happen this way, or is it the way that it looks to me enough to stop me and change my life in so many ways? I don't know. I really don't know about that.
And that's a part you struggle with. Are we supposed to try to, or are there things we're not supposed to know? But I'm not like that. No. I'm more upset about the things I don't know than what I do know. And, it's
like, you not know. I mean, the grand scheme of things, but some people fracture their brains, like completely fracture over it. And I'm like, just not for you then, I guess. I don't know.
How do you handle emergencies? Do you freak out or do you focus?
Very laser focused.
Me too.
If everything now, if I was just trying to do something stupid, I'm but when it comes down to something, I'm like a ninja.
And you don't, and you react, and you don't even know what you're. Not that you don't know.
It's
what
like
you're
I just
doing.
go right into it. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm instinctively there, and I'm not even. Yeah.
Yeah. The fear goes away. You do what you got to do.
Yep.
Yep. I
I have my
don't
pilot's
understand that.
license, and they used to take people up, and this
Oh.
is, and because they would panic, they would freeze, they'd go into the flight, fight, or deer in headlight,
Right.
and that was a part of it to get people past it. I never had that, but I don't know. I just wonder, a lot of it. Why went something else weird happened? My grandma used to own the salon. The guy died while driving the car. And so I remember I was like 8 years old, and he literally like went in, his foot was all the way down the gas, and we're like flying through a cornfield. And I didn't freak out. It was like I was watching it happen, and my there was nothing. I guess maybe there's nothing you can do if you kind of surrender to that. But I just never had that, and I wonder if it wasn't because of that time we drove with the dead man.
Let me ask you this. So, and I'm not talking about anybody. I'm talking about me.
Mhm.
When you're watching a movie or a video on TikTok or whatever, and there's a bunch of people screaming, does that irritate the mess out of you? Yeah.
Like, stop
Like
it. What are you
you're not
doing that
doing
for?
anything
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
My son had an accident. I don't remember, probably 2019. We shoot a lot, and I have all my life. We're all about safety and all that.
Mhm.
And so he had a now we know that they're notorious for firing without anybody touching them. And he had one in a holster. Long story short, he went to get out of the truck, and it went off and went through his leg and into his boot that had a steel toe on it, and that's what saved his toe, and the bullet fractured and went everywhere. So
wasn't that 3 years ago, Roger?
Well, that's when I probably showed y'all pictures, but it was probably 2019, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Because I didn't know Heather yet, and we've been together over 6 years. So he went to emergency room, didn't even call me. He called me the next day, and which I got on to him about that. But I talked to the lady. It happened at a store that we used to own years ago, and there was a parking lot full of people. And she said, she's Roger, I need to talk to you about something. I'm like, okay, were you there when it happened? She said, yeah. She said, I don't know anything about your son, but I'll tell you this. He was the calmest person on the parking lot.
Oh, cool.
He was giving people direction. He tested, he checked it, made sure, didn't hit tendons.
Wow.
And he was directing people, like, hey, go get me one of those milk crates so I can elevate my leg. Hey, you go do this. And then you could hear the sirens coming. He said, are any of y'all doctors or nurses? They're like, no. So you need to get out of the way, give this ambulance room because I need the ambulance. She said he was so calm and cool and collected. And I talked to him. I said, I heard about, he said, look, he said, I just needed help, and I knew if I got my heart rate up scared and I bled out, that wouldn't be a good thing. So he calmed himself down. So he's like that. He's not over emotional. It's like if he tears up a little, it's like me falling on the floor in a fetal position crying, so he's not, so he's got that in him too. And I've seen him when things happen. So
that's good. I used to think that we were taught that was like denial of some sort, but I think that is so healthy right there. I don't know.
So that I knew he was kind of like me in some of these ways we're talking about. But that kind of confirmed a little bit to me, like, okay, he may have whatever this is.
That's what I'm wondering. So have you talked to him about it? Is he able to see, or?
He's had weird, he's had weird stuff happen. He was sitting, now I think his mom's house is probably haunted, and his mama's house on that side definitely is. But he used to, they would see
can like that you both are in haunted houses as kids, like that's.
Well, and I bought this place 20 years ago by feel. I walked in and it felt clean. It felt, it felt good. So that's why I'm here. I was in real estate for a little while, and I had a little lady come in from Texas, and she was deaf. So we texted a lot, and I know a very little bit of sign language and, whatever. And so there was a house she wanted to look at, and from the outside and everything, it looked, like 15 years old. But I had done some research on it afterwards because I was trying to figure out what was going on. We walked in, everything was fine in the first couple of rooms, and we went into the center of the house, and I felt it. It was heavy. It felt dark. It didn't feel right.
Oh.
She was a little short old lady. I turned around and looked at her, and her eyes are this big. And I said, "You feel it?" And she was like, I said, "You ready to go?" I didn't even get that finished. She was out the door,
Out
left
the
me in
door.
there. Yeah, I'm in there. Like I have to lock up and everything and make sure everything's way, was. And, but he told me a story. See, and the thing is with some of his stuff, there's more than just him. They were sitting there, at his mom's house watching TV, and you can see into the kitchen. They opened it up, took the wall out, and they have an island. And he thought he heard something, and he said he was kind of looking in the kitchen like, what was that? And his stepdad had the old flip phone, so he had the old flip phone case. And he kept looking in that area, and then all of a sudden that flip phone went from sitting still stationary to up and arcing and flipping over and hit the wall.
Oh man.
And he went to turn to his mama and say, "Did you see that?" And her mouth is dropped open in her eyes. He said, "You saw that, didn't you?" She said, "Yeah, I just saw that." So
Wow.
that to me is another level of, I don't know. That's when it gets scary.
Yeah, when they start moving stuff. I've been in places where dishes have flown. But the weirdest thing was when Brody's dad had passed, my brother, and they knew, but they didn't really firm believers in the paranormal. And I remember he was holding this jar of peanut butter. It was like a gigantic, I'm making jokes about how big this jar of peanut butter was. I was holding the jar of peanut butter. He came in, was standing there, and all of a sudden the thing, there's no possible way. It was like this, and it was right on his foot, like the toe of his shoe. And I was like, I don't even know what to say about that. But when they move stuff like that, that takes some real oomph like behind it. So I always think they got some strength.
Well, and going back to that house, the part I forgot, after I got home and I went in on Real Tracks and stuff and started really looking at the house. The center part of that house was like 120 years old. They had just added on to it. So that part of the house was the dark feeling. Then her husband called me and I got laughed at. He's like, I was new. I didn't know. He said, "Hey, is there any way you can guarantee before we buy a house it's not haunted?" And there's all these seasoned real estate agents around. I said, "Let me put you on hold." I said, "I got a question for y'all." They laughed. Oh my God, they laughed. And they said, "I don't know, get some of these paranormal investigators to go in and give seal of approval." But he told me a story why he asked that. He was in Texas and was renting a place. He worked out of town and he was in construction. So part of the deal was if you see something wrong, fix it. We'll knock it off the rent. And he was on a ladder. He'd been there a couple days, was working on the light fixture in the living room. And he said, "Roger, I heard something and I looked over." He said, "I saw something so terrifying." He said, "I didn't crawl down the ladder. I jumped off the ladder."
Oh, wow.
Ran to my car, left all of my belongings in that house and never went back. And I said, "What was it?" He said, I'm not getting into that." He said, "I never went back and got my clothes, nothing." He said, I called the people and said, I'm out of here.
Wow. And you don't know what he wouldn't tell you what he saw.
Would not tell me. Now he told me it was so terrifying that he jumped off the ladder and ran, but that's, he was older than me, and that's kind of how we were told to do things, don't. But I could tell, when you meet somebody or interview somebody, you can look at their breathing, their pulse, they tense up if they're, if they're recalling something that's really terrible. All of that was going on with him. I'd gotten to know him a little bit. That guy was a totally different person in that minute or two when he was recalling.
Wow.
They're recalling the memory.
Yes.
And I didn't push him on it, but
I'm just trying in my head to think what would be so terrible that you would see that you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like he's like, did he see a scene play out? Did he see a person? Did he see a demon? Wow.
I was so curious, but I
I know, me too.
Plus he was an old construction worker. I didn't want him kicking me in the face. So,
I could be like, I was a therapist. I can help you work through this trauma, but I really need to know what it was, Jeez.
I got to know so I can help you.
They do that with cryptids too. That happens with people with cryptids. It terrifies them so bad that they won't speak about it, even to family, until later on in life, once they finally settle down and realize what they were actually seeing.
Well, I think we don't get into this part of it enough, whether it's UFOs, aliens, ghosts, or cryptids, or whatever. I think sometimes we just fly by the emotional part of this, and we've talked about it some on our show. It's a real thing. There's I know people that are struggling right now, and they're like, well, why don't you feel the way I do? I said, because I wasn't 10 feet from it with it showing its teeth, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. It's all what your encounter is,
Well,
and
that makes so much sense when you say that too. And who do you go? I was a therapist and I know how they literally. And I don't know as if I'd go to a therapist and tell them about it. That's the sad part.
Most people won't. They don't want to tell it to a stranger. The PTSD from them, for some people, is a very real thing, and it takes years to get over it. My son saw his in 15, and he's still fighting it, still trying to get over it.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know if this person, I'm going to keep it discreet, I don't know if this person is still in chat, but they were earlier. Had something terrifying happen recently, went to therapist, and they didn't help. This person said that people like Gary and maybe me and some other people I can mention, this person got more value out of talking to experiencers than they do, because the doctors will dismiss it. They're not gonna. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. They can't talk to you about it because they don't know.
You can be
I
used
know who
against
you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly who he's talking about, and he talked to several of us. Roger. Well, I'm like Roger. I'm not going to say their names. I know he talked to at least 5 of us to help him get through it.
Yep.
And he's still fighting it, but he is better. And it's just like
Roger.
Roger.
Or cryptid?
No, it was cryptid.
Oh, okay. I've heard that.
That's just like Roger. He until LBL, Roger, there was no way Roger was going to run up in the woods. Roger wouldn't even go camping anymore. But I like to fell over. When I snapped that picture, Roger took off up into the woods. And I could not believe my eyes. Roger was finally accepting it and getting over it. And his PTSD is not near as bad now, just from talking to other people about it. And, of course, from us teasing him about it. Because every time I see Roger, I tell him there's one behind him.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, yeah, at least they helped you out with your trauma, Roger.
Well, well, the more you learn about these whatever, it changes how you think about it. So you have these different theories and people that live around them and all that. And like I said, it depends on what your experience was. But with this particular time, if I'd have been standing there with Gary and saw it at the same time, I probably wouldn't have had that reaction. But I had time to think about it. What do we need to do? And the first thing, I didn't even have my camera with me. I didn't have my phone. It was over in the chair. But my thing was, okay, I know what we just saw. I don't know what it is for sure. But if I can go find evidence plus preserve it, if we don't want people tromping on it. And then we got there, and there it is. The tracks are there. The tracks are where they should have been, where I heard it on the exit, at the angle up to exactly where I told them it was going to be. So because I had that 30 seconds to a minute to think about what we might need to do before I actually saw it, because he told me what he saw. And I'm thinking, well, what's our next move? And so I was thinking in my head too, like, I'm not coming trying to catch you. I'm gonna stop right up here. It's like, and so once we started getting to the first impressions and stuff, just stopped and turned around, waited on the, so-called experts to get there, the trackers and stuff. So, like I said, if I'd have been standing there by myself, would I have done that? Probably not. If it had been a split 3 seconds, like real fast, probably not. But Gary told me what he saw. Then it happened. And I had time to think about, what do we need to do next? What's the next step? And maybe that is a common to know that you can let your intentions be known and maybe be okay. So I'm not saying it's the smartest thing.
Huge.
It's not the smartest thing in the world. Yeah, Wendell about gave me a heart attack one night. We caught some screams on audio. It was 3 screams. We're in this
paranormal or Bigfoot.
It was Bigfoot, and but there's a lot of paranormal crap goes on at this place too.
Oh yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah, and so quickly, I might have told this before, but me and another guy was like, "Hey, let's sneak out there in the dark and quietly and throw a big light on there, and see if we can catch them out in the field." Well, I didn't know Wendell was following us, and right as I turned the light on, Wendell screamed out, "Run, Roger, run!" And
oh my God.
There. I about died right there. I owe him.
Stop your heart.
Yeah, it was
Wendell.
Yeah, that's where Damn It Wendell come from. He made hats.
Yeah. But it's like we were saying, it don't matter if it's paranormal, if it's UFOs, if it's cryptids. The more you're into this and the more you talk to people, the easier it is to accept it. And like he said, he had a little bit of time to think, so he went up there to preserve it. And if he had if it had been a year ago, there is no way. In fact, a year ago, he left campsite because he's got a picture of an orb right next to his truck.
So and the more I've been around those things, and the more I learned about them, about the natural ways they could be caused, in nature, and then there might be paranormal or whatever too. They don't scare me. We just saw one, or I did. Heather and Peyton and I went. It was this weekend. It was like Friday night, and we went to a place that was really rural, no houses, and we go sometimes and park and sit a while, make calls and whatever. And at one point, I saw an orangish red light, probably 200 and something yards away on a hill coming off a ridge. I could see it going behind the trees, and I only saw it for like 5 or 6 seconds. But I was giving them play by play. I was trying to point to it. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't tail lights. There's no road there. Midnight, there's not supposed to be anybody walking around in the woods, and there are no houses. It's all private property. But the reason I went, I had a lady tell me that she saw a blue, a white, and maybe green or red. I don't remember, but they were the same size on that road, and they looked like they were playing with each other in the field. They were
like orbs.
They were dancing around each other, and her dad saw it. Yeah, and so when she told me that, I was like, okay, we need to go check this out if we can. But and my buddy Don, he'd be a great guest for you. Actually, he's very knowledgeable in a lot of this stuff. He was the former MUFON investigator. He's been in into a lot of the stuff we talk about or touched on. But he was on the job as a Tennessee game warden. He had his boss in the truck with him. They were going. It's not far from here. I don't remember exactly where he said. But they were coming off of a hill, and there was a hollow on the left, and they saw a light, and they're like, I wonder who that is, and lights. And Don said, I think that's not on the ground. Well, it's not a helicopter, and this guy wasn't really a believer. And Don had been telling him about the UFO investigation and stuff he was doing, and they come around the curve and get a clear look at it. He said it was over 100 foot long, shaped like cigarish. They couldn't really get, you know what I mean? And it was floating. There was no propulsion. It was dead quiet. They stopped and turned the truck off, rolled the windows down. And he said it just floated down the hollow and went out of sight, and he said, well, what do you think about that? He said, I don't know. He didn't tell anybody, But
some of them don't look like you. Some of them that'd be more like the Tic Tac, right? That they have,
yeah,
and they look more like it. Have you ever seen any that look like biological almost?
no, I've seen, and I've
I'll
only
show
seen
you.
I've only seen 2 UFOs that I knew they were UFOs. Now biological,
I guess what I mean by that is there's something I'll show you. These are some of the pictures, weird markings I had, like this one. I mean, for real, like what is that? But that's
so
some of them will look like this.
so I kind of know what you're getting at. So I'll tell you this. So the orbs, 99% of the orbs I've seen have been round, different sizes. Anywhere, one of them was beach ball size down to
Yeah,
quarter
I've seen these.
size, baseball, softball, and stuff like that. But I was telling some people what Heather and I saw one night, probably 20 yards away, 10 foot up a tree, and it wasn't round. And I said, I don't know what this was. And for almost 20 minutes now, I should have maybe took pictures or something, or video, but I wasn't doing this at the time, so I didn't think about it. And I'm moving the truck back and forth to get better angle looks on it. And Coley, it was probably about not quite a foot long, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
about 3 to 4 inches thick, but it was changing sizes. It was
Yeah.
like undulating, and it always stayed the same length, but it would come down and come back up, and the light intensity didn't change. It looked plasma-ish, right?
Right.
So it looked more alive.
Did it? Okay. Yes.
Like
Yes.
it was pulsing, but it wasn't changing intensity in the light. It was just the shape of it was more or less pulsing. And so after
Was
it
it?
goes
So
out,
did it change? Because I had one. Okay. So this one is the same as this one. There was changing shapes. It was going from like this to like a brain looking thing to this. I mean, it was crazy. It was like it was doing stuff like that. Like this is the same one right here.
well,
I'll
and
play.
this was on a tree limb. It was stationary. So I
Oh.
go and I start digging into what naturally could cause this, and everything that I can't read about was not this. And I went back the next morning, went right to the tree and to see if there's any kind of anything like a
Yeah.
deer camera, a trail camera, anything at all. And the leaves were. It was wintertime. All the leaves are still on the ground. There's no disturbance around the tree. Uh, the tree limbs actually, they were kind of attached to a bigger tree, and anything with any kind of weight wouldn't. There were smaller trees, right? So anything with any kind of weight wouldn't have been able to stay there. The tree branch wouldn't have held the
It
weight.
broke.
So I had to go back, make sure there was not anything that could be contributed to causing that. So once I went back and figured out that, then I start digging in, and the only word I came up with that fit was plasma like. It was an
You
off-white.
just made me realize, why is it I have a ton of them and they're all by trees? What is it about the trees
I don't
that
know.
you're saying this? That's
And I even dug into, asking if a tree, if they were connected or a vine was connected, any kind of energy could cause. And it was no, there's not enough energy to have something like that. Now we have, fluorescent or bioluminescent type plants, that sometimes can be mistaken, and you go over there and but it's not this color. And and I went and checked for that. There was none of this. And
wow.
I've heard stories, similar stories of people riding horses at night and seeing these things. But that was my introduction to the term orb, actually. And I kept saying, well, it wasn't an orb, and I had people say, well, it technically was. It just wasn't round. It wasn't round. So I don't know.
They could be like, I've seen them in all different. Okay, the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and it was micro, right? Like kind of like what you're talking about, but Okay, so this thing, and somebody had a name for it once because I thought, but it was changing and like it was origami almost, and it was just like folded up, and it did. I was like, "What is this?" Because it
Well-
was something I could hold like in my hand almost.
Well, think about this. Years ago, my mom and dad built a house, and just so happened the back of the house, you'd walk out on the back deck, and there was a star that I noticed. I was always a sky watcher, and I don't know why I've always been drawn to the sky. I'd be outside, cold, freezing to death. And so when people see these meteorites and you see the video and they're freaking out, I'm like, man, I've seen so many of those.
Yeah, I know. You watch the sky
small.
long enough, you see all sorts of stuff fly over.
Yeah. And so I'm like, you're freaking out, dude. That's been happening since the beginning of time. So I saw this star, and my dad and I we called it the Twinkler because we didn't know. It was back in the 80s.
Oh boy.
And yeah. And so we would look at it. If you look at it with, just your naked eye, it'll look blue, red, green, white, and it looks like it's moving. It's Sirius is which one it is. I found out later.
Oh man, there's so much to this that you don't even realize. Okay.
But if you take a binoculars or a gun scope and focus in on it, it looks like it is changing shape.
Yeah.
Now is that the light? Is that the atmosphere? Who knows? But when
you're talking about like with Orion's belt.
No, the Sirius is by itself, I believe.
Well, but it's the dangler off of the Orion's belt. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
And
I only know I have a tattoo of it because it's the Orion's belt, and the Sirius is very connected to my whole story. Okay. Yeah, I'm really serious. It's right here. I'm like, I was following it. I'm like, yeah, but no, it really is. It's so connected to my story. But go ahead. I'm interested.
But that's what was cool. My dad told me back then. He said, one day when I'm not here, you can look at that star. That's our star. So I was always drawn to it.
Oh,
and I started learning about it. A little bit. Now
there's
with Orion's belt,
A, B, and C.
Orion's belt has always intrigued me for some reason, and I don't know as much.
So much. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Then we find out the
the Orion's belt is. I used to call it creepy Orion's belt because that's how I would locate them. Mm-hmm. Like I always went to Orion's belt this time of the year that it was out, and I would be like, it literally is tattooed. But Sirius is who this will get really weird, but that was the connection, and every experience I had led back to the Sirius.
Yeah,
that's right. And then there's 3. There's a C too, just not known yet.
I didn't think too much about it, but now later in life, I'm like, why was I always the kid laying in a wood pile looking at the stars? You know what I'm saying? So. I don't know. You get into the blood type thing and all that, and
that's interesting. I bet your dad had a lot of this. I bet he had a lot of. Is he still alive or
no? He passed in 22, but he was thank you. He was like a matter of fact. He had to see something. He really wouldn't believe, but he had enough happen to him. When I saw that first Bigfoot in '85, he laughed at me. And a little while later, he come and woke me up, and something had jumped off the bank behind him. He definitely was, big and 2 feet and all this.
Oh, wow.
So, he started coming around, and the thing was, when I could show him things to kind of back up what I was talking about, that he was like that. But in his later years, he realized there was more to this place than what we originally been told.
Do you think Roger was because some people, right? They might not. It's like, okay, an ex-smoker or somebody who does not want to. They're so annoyed by something, and you find out it's because they are really connected. They just don't like that they're really connected to it, or they just don't want to connect to it for whatever reason. But it causes like that. I'm almost wondering if he really wasn't, but sometimes they're afraid or for whatever reason, people don't want to digest it.
He come from a big family. His daddy, my granddad, which I never met, obviously, because he got killed in a car wreck when my dad was 11. So they all had to go to work immediately. So there wasn't any distractions. He had a paper route and he did this and that, and the rest of them were working. I think he was so focused on doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't get out at night like I did. He didn't. Well, they did, but they were probably riding around drinking beer back.
No,
then.
my grandpa would have thought it was total nonsense, but he was in the war, and he'd see us, you know, and he'd just say that's rubbish.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
he just didn't want to bother with it.
But Coley, you have friends like I do that have never had anything happen to them, and they think you're nuts.
Yeah.
You know, and something can happen right there with you're beside them, and for some reason they don't feel it. See it,
Can't they see it? I don't
know.
understand. I you know what my friend said though, and this is what makes me wonder. I'm like, can they see it, or is this it? I don't know. It's crazy. But she was with, and she started seeing, like when I told you the one came down on the road, she was driving the car. I'm like, it's coming down, and it was literally this triangle, the yellow center, and we could see it shoot off. And she, after that, she got real funny with me, and she's like, did you ever think maybe you've seen too much, or you've taken this too far? And she wouldn't look up after that. She would
Like
not look up. Yeah. Like
Coley's drawing them in.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So since we're talking about everything, are you the type of person that all your life people are drawn to you and you don't know why? Get along with everybody.
Yeah, and there's certain ones. There's always, I know the next place I move, there's going to be another one. There's always, oh boy, yeah.
But that's what's bad about moving to a different area. You know, if you grow up in a place, you automatically know who those people are. You know what I mean? Stay away from them. And it seems like those type people though, they have to seek out the new people because everybody else knows they're, you know.
And everybody else is like, no way. Either that or people have extreme reactions where I'm like, what is this? Like, you know, I've never some of it, and they'll pick you right out of a crowd. It's like, do I have a sign? Is there something like, you know, because it really is, but it's always like these extreme situations, like, you know, where I'm like, man, this is not even a joke. The time before, I had some guy who found my show local, and I got a call that he was from the police department, that he was going around town with a salt shaker. He thought that I had demon scratches, and he was going to encapsulate me in a salt circle. And I'm like, what is that? Like that kind of stuff right there.
He's just worried about you. That's all.
Right. And I'm like, well, where is this? Who is this person? And not even so this whole thing. And then finally, I think, you know, and I have moved since then. It's like a year later on the date, because I had to call the police again. I said, I'm getting these weird messages here. They said, do you realize it was 1 year ago when this whole situation happened? I was like,
oh, man.
No. Same. To the day.
So are you the type of person, I know a lot of people in chat are, we've talked about it. So if you're sitting at a restaurant, a football game, whatever, and you feel like somebody's watching you and you turn and look and there's somebody staring at you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. I don't like, you know, I'm like, what is the deal with this?
You feel
like,
it, but you feel it.
Feel it. Yes, you can.
First. Yeah.
Roger, how do you think I find the cryptids? I feel them out there watching me, turn and look right at them.
I saw
Even though I don't see them, I know they're there.
Well, Gary, we were talking, and of course I had my back to the woods and I couldn't see because of the sides we had on.
Yeah.
I'm a people watcher and everything. And Gary's like, I'm sitting down, he's standing up, and I'm looking around, and I seem to remember Gary looking up and his mouth dropping open. His eyes got big. He may even took a half step backwards. Like,
no, he saw
what's
something.
Wrong? You know, what's wrong, Gary? And he told me. I jumped up. I was, no way. But
you feel them. I got to the point that I was so acute with UFOs, I would know when to go out and look up. Like it was almost like they were calling out to me, and I'm like, it's almost like you build a rapport with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'll be sitting right here and I'll feel them outside my house.
That's too close to comfort right there. Y'all, and speaking of that, I got a phone call maybe Sunday. This kid that I coached in youth football from here, the absolute closest Bigfoot report I've ever got to my house is 2 miles as a crow flies.
Oh,
but it happened 14 years ago. My son has been hunting on the property with him. They got tons of acreage, and They were out at somebody's house, and my son doesn't talk about this. He heard him. They showed something like two people was walking across the field or something, and somebody, being funny, said, "Oh, look, two Bigfoot," and he said this guy looked at him and said, "No, they ain't big enough." So Peyton, he heard that. A little while later, he got him to the side. He said, "Were you joking?" He said, "No." He said, "I've seen them on my grandpa's farm. Within 20 yards, looked one right in the eyes. He pulled up on his four-wheeler, and it stood up, and they locked eyes for like 2 or 3 seconds, and he took off, and then he saw it again." Well, I got permission to go during the daylight and kind of go over everything, show them what to look for, and then we're planning on going at night later. I want to see the layout first. And then my son gets to telling me stories. Well, we were there one time deer hunting, and something was growling at us and huffing, and we didn't know what it was back before I got, told everything. Plus they were walking one night, had their flashlights, and something was really big in the field with them, and the eyeballs were wide apart. He said he didn't say anything about that. If he'd have said something, I would have, thought more about it.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, 60 yards from here is the end of the city limits across the road. And on the other side of that fence is nothing. There's nothing but country roads, creeks, hills for miles. So I've known it was possible because I've gotten reports from around here within 5 miles before. But and this kid, I know how his family is. I trust him. So, and I got him on the phone and interrogated him, and I didn't lead him. I was asking questions. Sure. He don't watch these shows. He don't watch the shows on TV. He was just reporting what he saw. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting over that.
That is awesome. Excuse me. Have you ever heard of anything that I had something right around October, and I kind of shifted some stuff, moved some stuff, but it was clicking and it was like, so I started digging into this. Is the only thing where I'll tell you I was spooked. I didn't want to look out the window. I didn't want to know what it was. I was envisioning like something like being, I don't know. That's the first time I actually was very spooked about it. I'd get some really strong putrid smells that would just kind of, they were there and then gone. It seemed like it was at a certain hour. It kind of clipped past through here. But there was a certain period of time, like stuff, high activity, probably I would say for a good month, that it was just really escalated. Like a dresser went in the middle of the night, but the dresser was still there. The drawers were on the ground. It was anything that was on the wall could be affected, but nothing really in the room.
Well, I know from friends, they will push on the wall. Sometimes, now that sound you're talking about, one of the most terrifying things that ever happened to me, I was by myself with my dog. I won't tell the whole story, but I'm in the woods, broad daylight. There's something not even 20 yards from me, standing in front of me, making that sound.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it was a big throat, big tongue trying to call my dog to it.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
She was scared. And I realized this later. I was looking 10 foot up in the air, whatever that noise was, and I could hear the resonance. So talking to people more experienced than me, I don't know what it was. Right. I know what's around there, but I don't understand the not being able to see it part. That's what scared me.
It's the click language.
No, this is Gary. I think I asked you. This is not like this is like a.
Yeah. That's the click language. I've heard them do that here. They do it here. It's a form of language that they use, and yes, it is the Bigfoot. I've had 3 distinct different voices outside.
I don't think this was Bigfoot
using that click language.
This thing I thought wanted to kill me. Like that is the feeling I had, and I didn't even see it. Somebody said it was a rake, and I was like, I thought they were talking about a rake, like an actual rake. I said, there's no rake outside my window, okay? There's no rake outside my window. And it was so funny. So every time I tried to figure out, because the clicking, they said that if it was like a certain, and this was a speed, like it was like, It wasn't like it was.
Yeah,
It's like it
like teeth
continued.
chattering.
Yes. Okay,
That is the rake. The teeth chattering is a rake, but the click language, like Roger heard and like I heard, is Bigfoot. And the reason Roger didn't, the reason Roger didn't see it was because it was cloaked.
Look, I have a picture that freaked us out in the same area before, a year before probably. I went back in there by myself. It was after me and Peyton had that terrifying where they were throwing the rocks and the boulders and the trees. And so anyway, I went back in there, and there was a tree that was partially down. It'd been there forever. There was no wind that day, and it fell. But when we looked at the video, it looked like the end of it was pulled instead of just, like fell on its own. So we got to looking at it, and Peyton saw something and screenshot the video and sent it to me. And it looks like, reason I noticed it, because the sun was behind me facing, it looks like there's a reflection on the forehead. Like, I hate to use the word cloaked, but it looks cloaked. You can see the inside eyes, the big nose and the mouth and the chin, and it looks just like a Bigfoot head. And I told Peyton, I said, for that to be real, this thing has to be about 11 foot tall. And then now I'm thinking back, I was looking at like 10 foot up at this noise. And now look, I'm not saying that's what it was, but I'll try to remember, see if I can find the picture. When I showed it to Peyton, he about flipped out. He's like, oh my God, stand there looking.
That's what it was, Roger.
It was a big old boy. I just put that way.
Yeah. It's and 11 foot is nothing for them.
Yeah.
You've heard how tall my alpha is.
Yeah, I know. And that blows my mind. Because I've seen them in the 6.5, 7.5, except for that one big one in South Alabama. And he was 6 foot tall sitting on his butt. So I don't know what it would have been, standing up, over 6 foot. But anyway.
That is, when I was first started, we came across these really weird structures. Like, I think I was telling you about that. They got smaller, like a tail. And that's when the first things we got close where we heard this noise, nothing like Gary's noise, like for the, no. But it was something that was like shattering, and you could feel kind of something really move around quickly, but I don't know. I've never been able to see. I would love to. But then I was like, should I see it? ET, paranormal. I'm like, I don't know. Should my brain see this? Like, that's what I thought.
You got to stop and consider. The cryptids make a lot of different noises, not just the click language, not just English, not just Native American. They can mimic anything. I mean, anything. So they make a lot of different noises. But I'm not saying it was cryptid. The one that you saw, I guarantee, or the one that you heard, I guarantee you was a pale crawler, a rake, whatever you want to call it, because it was the teeth chatter and it was not the click language.
Why did they do that?
I'm trying to scare you.
It worked.
Well, and you said that was with kind of the popping of the walls and the floor. So see, Greg, our buddy, Pop knows him well. They come to his cabin all the time, and the times he's been scared is when they were testing the walls and the walls would push in. So you hear that, and he built that place. He overbuilt it because he knew what was going on there. But
so you think that they're actually, because I said it's really weird. It seems like but it was right where I would be sitting, and it was like right behind me. So I moved. I literally moved my desk. I moved everything because I had Jessica Jones on, and something flew. And I was like, oh my God. I said, you're not going to believe this, but this has been going on now for a couple of weeks. In my dresser at like 1:30, all of a sudden I hear this like crash, and I was like, what is that? I went, grabbed my cell phone. I turn it on. All the drawers are on the ground, but that dresser is still standing up. Now you explain how that happens, because that dresser the frame of it should have been down with the rest of it. Why were just all the drawers out?
That, by all rules of nature, something had to pull those drawers out from the front.
Or shake it.
Or push them out from the back.
Or pushed them out from the back, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was enough if you pushed it that way where the drawers flung out, and maybe that went back. Now that I never even thought about that being an option.
that's too much for me. I
No,
I
that
get
was that
nervous.
was I didn't like that. I did not like that at all. And I stopped going outside because I started doing a little digging. And there's a cornfield, probably like maybe like 2-3 feet, if they're not creepy enough as they are all by themselves. But I get right there, and it was rumored to be that there was something in this area that was clicking, but that was keeping people out of the the fields. I guess it didn't want you going in the field for whatever reason. I don't know. But I got thinking about it. We were talking about it last night, and it was in October. And I said, I'm not sure because I don't do the farming. I'm not a farmer. I'm never whatever. So, but I think that's like their harvesting time. So I don't know. Cornfields are notorious for weird, activity of some sort. I mean, they're just kind of weird as they are, but.
Harvest starts in September and runs through December.
This has been right in October.
Depending on how big, how many acres they've got. Like we used to have 1,100 acres of corn.
Ooh.
We would start peanuts in September. And by the time we finished peanuts, it was time to start the corn, which would put it into October. And when we finished them, it was time to start the cotton, which would put us on into December. So if you've got 4,000 or 5,000 acres, it's going to take a while to get it done.
I wanted to bring this up because with y'all's experience, I don't know what to think about this. So, you talk about things you've experienced, people you've met, things you've seen. Have any of you ever encountered a person that you thought might have been an angel?
Yes.
Never an angel, but I have somebody that I definitely did not think was human and was not good, like soulless.
I've seen the evil. Like I didn't feel like it was other than the person was just evil, which I didn't know. But I've looked evil in the eyes, and I won't get into that story. That's wild. But I was in the store one day, and we had people, from all over the world would come in, and you'd have people in the finest cars to walking in shoes that barely was holding together. So, I was in there by myself. The beer man was pulled up. He'd come in, did his order. He was getting everything he needed. And I looked up, and this man come in. He looked like he was hitchhiking. He was probably about 5'6", 5'7". His skin was dirty. His clothes were tattered a little bit. He had a white beard, and he had dark grayish hair. It was kind of long. But when I looked into his eyes, they were blue as blue can be. And you know how people that are not healthy and don't have a good diet, the whites of his eyes were perfect. It was the bluest, the prettiest eyes I've ever seen. And this is what reminded me. He was talking, but he wasn't saying anything that I recognized. I didn't recognize any from any language. It didn't sound like the syllables where you put emphasis on certain syllables. It was almost like a waterfall, like it's a constant sound that doesn't get to. And he was actually saying words, but it was it was so fast but low. I'm looking at him, and I don't know what I'm looking at. I had this feeling of peace.
Wow.
And so check this out. So I immediately knew he might be hungry or need water. And I said, "Are you thirsty?" He just shook his head, never quit talking. I got him like 5 or 6 bottles of water. I was going to get him a bag to carry everything in, and usually when people come up and they were hungry, I would get them stuff to eat right then, but also jars of peanut butter, stuff that they could carry and eat later, that wasn't going to spoil.
Oh, that's so nice. You did that. I love that.
Well, it's just, there's a movie called The Peanut Butter Falcon, and I think I'm the guy that gave the guy the peanut butter. The stuff had happened, and they just moved it to a different part of the country. But that's a wild story. But so I offer this man all of this stuff, and I'm getting it ready for him, and he just shook his head. He took 1 bottle of water and just nodded. He was still talking. Whatever he was saying, he was still talking. He nodded. Wow. He turned and walked out. The beer man saw him, went over to him, and I was watching him, and he tried to give him. They sold water too. He tried to give him water, and so the guy come in, and I watched their interaction, and I said, Clyde, what did he say to you? He said, I don't know what he was saying. I've never heard anything like that before. I said, why don't you try to give him some water? He said, I felt like I needed to. I said, why didn't he take it? He said, I don't know. He pointed to the bottle of water you give him, I reckon. I said, I tried to give him like 6 bottles and food, and he didn't accept it. I've never had that happen before. And and I could tell Clyde was freaked a little bit. I said, Clyde, what do you think we just had happen to us? He said, I think he was an angel. I thought, oh my God, this is what I
Really? Wow.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't know for a fact, but it wasn't. It was, they say the eyes are the window to the soul or whatever, and that was the cleanest part on him, and they were perfect. They were so perfect, they stood out because he was kind of dirty, but he didn't stink. He didn't smell. I didn't smell him, which that's odd too. He's standing right there in front of me across the counter.
I'm like totally envisioning, and I'm not, when you're saying it, it's a very odd feeling that I'm actually seeing somebody standing there at that's how, but sometimes that's crazy. Wow.
And so I told my buddy Don, we talk a lot. And I told him about it, and he said, that's weird. I said, why? He said, I encountered a man just like that down in like around Gulf Shores, Alabama. He said, I saw him walking down the road, and something told me to pull over. And I pulled over, and I just handed him $20, and he said he handed it back to me and shook his head. How many people's going to do that? He said he looked exactly like you're describing. So y'all, I don't know what he was, but
that's kind of cool. What do you think? It was just something passing through, or do you think it was a meant interaction? Like, what did anything happen after? Did you feel like you woke up? Did your life change in any way? I'm wondering what he was saying to you.
It was just, it felt like a confirmation. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a good feeling. It was, I've never really felt like that.
Because you would think the way, that situation scenario, you probably would feel a little bit different about, maybe be a little concerned, or if somebody's, you know what I mean? Like you offered them whatever, but that is really cool.
He only took what he needed. He didn't, I've never had anybody turn down free stuff.
No. Usually I'm thinking, man, usually people are lining their pockets whether they need it or not.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah. But with Clyde coming in, and that's the way I do people. If I have an idea, or I'll ask them first to see what they're, and he was right on. He said, man, I don't know what that was. He said, I think we just came in contact with an angel or something. I said, yeah, I felt the same way. I don't know. There's things out there that we don't understand. And I didn't judge him because I didn't do that, but I noticed details and nothing made sense. And that language, whatever, I don't think it was a language, whatever he was saying, he knew what he was saying, but it was nothing like I'd ever heard before.
I was just wondering if it was like activating something in you.
I don't know. I didn't question, like, I felt like I needed to be nice to him.
Yeah.
or else,
Well, no, it's just makes you so curious. That kind of, you run through and stuff good like that. I mean, it's like you see so much of the negative here. We don't get a lot of that kind of interaction where you feel like, wow, it's more like.
Maybe Clyde and I, it was our day to be tested. I don't know.
That's what I was fixing to say. Yeah. Maybe it was a test. God was testing you to see if he sent an angel to test you and see if you would be good or bad.
Yeah, because I mean, I know right now I've got friends and they're not bad people, but if somebody walked up like that, I'm like, oh, get out of here.
I know. It just drives me insane when people do that. It drives me insane.
It drives me crazy, y'all. I'm not talking about anybody, but I've seen this situation 100 times, and I'm gonna get up on a stump right now. I've seen people treat other people at our store that are down on their luck and hungry and starving to death, and they will go in and buy stuff for a homeless dog, but they won't help them.
Help the people.
And I'm all about helping the animals too, but
Mhm.
I've seen them actually feed the dog and walk off and leave the person standing there.
Do you know that there was a homeless person here with a dog, and it was freezing cold, and all the local people, if you're watching this and this was you, shame on you, were so concerned about the dog, but not the man that was out there freezing in the coldest point. And I'm thinking, where is he? I'll go and help him. I don't care if I
Right.
have, like how do you see somebody that's hungry or thirsty? I remember Brody's like, that's a kid. I said, I don't care who that kid, if he's mad, if he needed it, he didn't need it. He asked me if I would buy him a bag of potato chips. If he cut you off, you need to learn this as a child. I'm going to help him. Food is one thing you could always, I've never been that
Right.
parent, like, don't eat that, or food and you just drink. It's like, those are necessities, but you're right about that. It's like, why don't you have empathy? Like, how can you
Right.
be so cruel? I don't get
Yep.
it.
And that's a good question. I don't know. I'll tell you, I don't think it was paranormal, if you want to use that word.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was looking at, even though he was dirty and everything, it's almost like I was looking at perfection.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
Well,
take that however you want to.
look
That's
in the Bible. How many times has God or Jesus sent angels that look different ways to test people in the Bible?
Yep.
I've picked up people, like, there's a guy, I remember he was hitchhiking. I've never even thought twice about it. I've picked them up. And I remember I got back and my grandma's like, you did what? And I had some girls. She's like, did he give you those Girl Scout cookies? And I was like, Grandma, no, I got these from the mall. Like, not crazy. I'd given him a pack of them. He took the other pack of the Thin Mints. I said, remember in town, she's like, you can't be doing that as a female. And I said, well, I you know what? If I were in that situation, and I have been, and one nice man had pulled over. Everybody had driven past me 1,000 times, and my car was way back. And I was like, that one nice person. It was probably the best ride. And here is what. And then we were chatting the entire. It was great. But out of all these people that passed, I thought, man, I can't believe how it is bad.
And the thing is, it's so tough, because you're taking a chance anyway. But we've had some terrible things happen up and down this interstate, and I'll just put it this way. I figured out a long time ago, the small amount of percentage of bad people on this planet make it hard on the rest of us.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard to trust each other. It makes it hard. And look, there's people out there that are, I was coming home one night years ago. I was single. I'd been out with some friends. I was coming over the back ridge, where nobody, dirt gravel road still. I mean, rough road, but it was the shortest way back home. It was on the weekend, and I'm coming back, and I come around a curve, and there's a woman laying in the road in the middle of nowhere. And I worked at the jail. I've been on the interstate all those years, and I'm like, what should I do? And I don't even know if I don't think I had a cell phone with me. Maybe I did. I had one of them jitterbugs, one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but so the thing about it was, here's what's bad. Here's what's in our minds. As soon as I stopped, probably 30 foot away from her, 40 foot away from her, I got the lights on her, and I don't see any blood. And it's been raining, it's muddy and stuff. And I'm looking. I immediately checked the sides, and they were the sides of the road. You were down. There was high banks.
Oh, sure.
So I'm like, okay, there's not an ambush point here. That's exactly where my mind went. Like,
Isn't that crazy? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I opened my door. I'm like, hey, ma'am, are you all right? And she started stirring. So I got my flashlight. I'm looking behind my vehicle. I'm looking up in the woods. I'm keeping my eye on her. The lights are on her. And I'm looking around. I said, are you okay? And she said, my boyfriend's drunk. He beat me up and threw me out. And she had a couple scuff places on her. I said, you think he's on the way back? She said, yeah. I said, where's the nearest place where the people know you? Oh, like 5 miles over on so-and-so road. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. I said, here's what we're going to do. If you trust me to take you to your sister's house, here's how we're going to do it. You're going to put your pocketbook in the back seat first, and then you're going to get up front. I'm leaving the cab light on. I want to see your hands at all times. We got to trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not going to do anything, but I don't want to be anything to happen to me.
Sure.
I said, if you'll get on in, I'll help you in, and I'll carry you to your sister's, and then that's it. Y'all can handle it from there. And so I got her to her sister's house, and then once she got her pocketbook and everything, she thanked me, and I pulled out, left, and I never had seen that woman before in my life, and I was nervous. I was nervous the whole time. I was nervous about a lot of things. First off, is she going to try to rob me? Second off, is her boyfriend going to try to get me because he sees her in the vehicle? Third thing is, I was
your boyfriend, and he's going to jump out after you when she gets. Yeah.
Here's the third thing, Coley. I worked sheriff's department. And anytime that we transported females, we would call in. One X-ray mileage, 63,000 miles, 842 times 7:11 p.m. We would document everything. So if somebody lied and said something happened, you had a window. They could go check the mileage. He took me to Chapel Hill, and well, no, he took you to the hospital. It was 1 mile away. We got it logged down here. So there's real careful about that for lawsuits and whatever. So I was thinking about, well, what if she tells a lie on me and says I tried something, right? So
yes, and that's happened too. Yeah.
So I was covering all the bases, and walked in a store a few days later in Lewisburg, and she was working behind the counter. She still had the bruise on her, whatever. And I walked up, looked up at her, and I guess the manager was there. She was a new employee, and I looked up, and she recognized me. And she said, "Will that be all for you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I just did my thing and walked out. I didn't want to, I'm sure she was embarrassed, So that's the only two times I ever saw that lady. But then you leave the situation. You say, "Well, I could have called the cops," but the reason I didn't, I was worried about him coming back. Now, if he comes back, we got a problem because I'm there, she's there. I'm not going to let him, do the best I can not to let him hurt her again. So I thought the best thing to do was get her somewhere safe. But it still was scary. It was a scary situation for me, because of all the possibilities, but she actually needed help. But the thing is, that's how we think, because, so many terrible things have happened.
Yeah.
I've talked to people that's had terrible things happen to them in their life. And, it makes us scared to help people. And that's horrible.
That is horrible. And then, but it's like, I don't know the middle ground for it. It's like, because you're right. You don't want to do anything. And I've seen that too before. It's like, well, somebody's at risk. I've even seen like a whole setup, like, this is what people do. But why is it? It's not like it happened. The majority I feel like are good people. But how do you maybe, but I like that. Like, I just think I go back to my clients. I used to have kids with reactive attachment. They went through the most horrendous abuse that I have ever heard in my entire life. Now, some of those kids were profiled out to be serial killers. They would never have empathy for another person because it was taken out of them. That you got those types of people. Or you have the ones that are so timid and shy, and like, it's like they go one or two ways. But when you see that, it's like the people who are most sincere could be either the serial killer at one, not the ones, down to the other one. I'm like, I've had a couple situations where I've completely been blown out of the water by somebody's character, where it's like, what is there something wrong with me that, no, they were just that good at it,
Yeah.
So I always sit in my head, but I'm like, I try and push past that, but it does sit with you in the back of your head, because if you've ever been tricked like that, or if it's ever been something like that. But I just wonder instinctively, like our brains, that anxiety that we get is supposed to be to detect this. So what are we detecting something around it, or is it just the patterning's too similar?
What's funny, in interviewing people and talking and getting to know people like Gary and people in chat here and meeting them, and let me ask, I'm gonna ask you a question. So
go ahead.
Do you find that the people that watch your show, the people that are more in tune with this stuff that's really going on, do you think you feel like they're more in tune to human emotions
Oh
and
yeah.
feeling and
Yeah.
more giving and helpful?
Oh, very much so.
Yep.
They're like they are some of them, and they're yes, and in very unique ways. They are the ones that are there. They are the nurturers. They are the it's like the story, and very much the luck. I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's a part of it, but it's like they could go like Pancho. He got stabbed by somebody in a grocery or I think a gas station robbery. The nicest person, one of the nicest people in the world. I'm like, man, but it's like the circumstances, and yet they still are those people.
Yeah. I think the more you've been through, my mom and dad never forgot where they came from, and they were really even. I'll tell you like this: you can have a millionaire. I'm not talking about all millionaires. I'm just saying normally what I've seen.
Right.
You can have somebody with $1 million sitting here, and everybody's kissing their tail because they think they're going to get a little bit of it, and they ain't giving it up. And you have somebody here with $5, and they'll give you $3
Straight
of
off
it
the
to help
bat
feed you.
with it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Because they know how they've been there. They know how it feels, so.
I said the best people in the world have struggled and made it through.
Yep.
Those are the people that did not let it like define them. And growing up, I came from that cushy family. I didn't have hardly any, other than the dead man, but my grandma did take me but I'm saying like outside. Well, I guess that I thought really extreme situations. I didn't have to worry about food, clothes, or, your basic necessities were not ever a worry. But they have been. And when I encountered it, it was one of the most I don't think I would take back the experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
It changed me in a way where I appreciate it. I just told my son this last night. I said, I can't listen to some of the stuff you're saying. I said, do you realize you're out here? I said, my grandma, she would go. She was always 3 hours late to everything. We always had all the money in the world that you would ever need growing up. But I wanted my grandma, and all these clothes, when we cleared out her house, we took out 80 something bags of designer clothes, and they went to probably to Goodwill or somewhere.
Right.
And she didn't take those with her. She did not. That's all she could focus on while she was here was that, that the money, or the lifestyle. I don't know. It was just all about it. And she didn't take it with her.
This is my opinion. I do a lot of thinking sometimes, and I've noticed that in people too. Usually, it can be closed, it can be this or that, but usually when people focus on things like that, there's something missing. There's something missing in their lives. When you got people that had to make do, I've been made fun of because we don't have anything to eat and come up with a meal. Like, how'd you do that? And my daddy was like, it's called getting by and making do. I was lucky. I grew up like that for a little while, and then my dad took a gamble and borrowed some money and bought a little country store, and it ended up being a good thing. So I've been on both ends of it, and later in life I've been on both ends of it too.
Right.
Had some struggles, but I feel like some people are and sometimes I feel like I might too. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting there judging anybody, but I've noticed people. I've seen people that I knew a lady had $20 million in the bank, and she never was happy. She was always buying stuff. She would buy stuff. It would come in. She'd order it from the TV, and it would come in, and she would look at it. Oh, look, ain't it pretty? And then go throw it in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Never use it, never. So, but
isn't that? I don't know if it's that. Like my grandmother was never really an affectionate, loving person either. But I was really trying to tell Brody. I said, while I'm here, and I would have been fixated because if you in certain places, if you didn't have, the jeans from the buckle and the Doc Martens shoes, and you didn't have all this, it was like almost like looked down upon. Like, go get some decent clothes on if we're gonna. Why can't I just go dress the way I am? Like. But when you can, you kind of shed some of that. And I told Brody, I said, all this stuff, everybody's fighting for this money and everything. If I hadn't gone through, I guess, and experienced it firsthand, I probably would not appreciate things. That's not why we're here. That's not what this is all about.
And look, and I don't think it's everybody that's had it made all their life, because it's how you're built and how you think about things.
I agree.
So
But do you
that's why
think it's because you can see past the veil a little?
maybe.
Do you think because
Yeah,
you know without a shadow? I know without a shadow of a doubt there's something over there. I know I've seen it. Like there's certain things where I wonder sometimes he doesn't have the sight like I do. So,
Mhm.
and I mean like into the other, either that or
Mhm.
he just whatever. But he does weird things with time. But I wonder if that's why. I'm like, maybe he just can't see it.
Yeah. And it's look, you take these classes in school when they talk about nature and nurture. I think it's a little bit of both. And I
Okay.
also think there's some people are born the way they are and you can't do anything about it.
Mm-mm.
Not every, I mean, that's a small percentage, but just, to tie it back into all the stuff we've been talking about, I've noticed the similarities between the people that will sit down and have a conversation with you versus the ones that look down their nose and call you crazy.
Oh
But
yeah.
but they're the uneducated ones. That's what always gets me is like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And
Mm-mm.
and they'll say, oh, well, they'll make up something, well, I believe this because they're non-believers
I
and
always say just because you believe it doesn't make it true.
that's right. Well, and my thing, there's two things. No matter how much you laugh and scoff doesn't change the truth. And
I've said that too. Yeah.
number two, you're spitting opinions and I'm telling facts. So we're on a
Mhm.
different sides of the coin here.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
anyway,
I've when I encounter it too, I'm like, it doesn't see. I've kind of got the big mouth, and I'll be like, just because you said it and just because you repeated it
yeah,
doesn't make it true. Just because you believe it doesn't make it true
right.
either. But it's like for some reason people can relate to them on where they're ready. Like I feel like they'd come with pitchforks and torches for me,
Mhm.
but yet they'd be like, why is it that person that I don't get that because I've had a lot of backlash sometimes. I'm like, it's a truth though. I mean, nobody's saying it, but why are you
Well,
siding with the other person? Because that seems like the way it is.
well, I have realized this also. The There's people that haven't experienced anything like what we've talked about. And just the smallest chance that some of it might be true scares the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So they'll lash out. They'll try to say something, or just stay away from you or
Mm.
whatever. And I understand it. I mean, I do understand it because I have people come to me that know absolutely nothing and they're like, well, tell me about it. And I'm like, man, I
I'm
will.
not convincing you if this is true or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, that's right. And
I know it is. You got to deal with it yourself.
yeah, so I don't know.
Do
It,
people get mad at you for it? Do you ever get the when you go into places and you talk or like the people running out the door when they see, because people around here, everybody, unfortunately, they know what I do, and my shows are streaming on my personal page. They invaded it. I didn't start it that way, but I don't really care because I always say if anything I've said on here and anybody in my family or you think that I'm not, please by all means put it in the comments because it's all they're watching it too. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not. This is how real all of this stuff is.
yeah,
But it's sometimes it's just like you get, and I do understand like fear because if I see I have an irrational fear for spiders and if I see one I have to really talk myself because I'm like, am I right? But I'm like, I'd want somebody to put me out of my own misery, so where's a shoe at? It's like I go through these things because I'm afraid of it. And it's
With,
not that so I'm ready to kill it because I'm afraid of it.
well, with the question about people talking, I'm sure they do. But I held this in for so long that when I finally decided to get it off my shoulders, it felt so good.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I even put a guy. I went to Lincoln County and I was with a friend, and we were filming. They had something weird happened. Something they couldn't see walk by them, and they've got a low light video of it. And you can, on a big screen, you can tell something's there.
Oh wow.
And you can hear it, but you can't see it. So, and these guys weren't believers in anything like that. Now they're former military guys. Now they're like, I don't know what that was. It happened twice, one in broad daylight and one right before daylight. But anyway, we were over there. We went in this place, one of his friends, and he had a metal cutout of like a 4-foot Bigfoot metal. And I said, what are you going to do with that? I said, I'll buy that from you. He said, dude, you can have it. He said, I made that for somebody and they didn't pick it up years ago, and it was rusted. And so we come on, cleaned it and painted it. I put it right up on my privacy fence where they can see it I'm on a dead end street.
Oh, cool.
And one of my neighbors was walking one day and she said, why you got a Bigfoot on the fence? I said, well, I can stand here and talk all day, or you can check out Squatchin Holler on YouTube. And she saw me. She saw me a couple months later. She said, "Oh my God!" I'm like, yeah.
Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh! Yeah. I know.
So,
you're lucky, Roger.
Huh?
I said, you're lucky, Roger. I can't have one here because of my clan. They don't like them.
They don't like the cutouts?
Yeah, they don't like the cutouts. My neighbor had one, and he ended up having to take it down and get rid of it.
Oh my God!
Oh wow! What do they think? What do they think? It's like a drawing attention.
They think it's making fun of them.
Or do they think that it's like drawing attention to where they're at?
Possibly.
My clan said they think it makes them fun. We're making fun of them by having the cutouts.
Well, mine does have a beer in his hand, so they're probably right.
Did you tell them about Roger, Gary? Yeah. Oh my gosh!
They know about Roger. Believe me, they know about it.
Well, Gary, I've already asked you that, but it floors me. Like certain people or have things happen to them, and there could be 10 people around, and there seem to be drawn to certain people, you know, and it's just, I started noticing that, and I had people joking, and Lucky Raj, he caught this on audio, or he got that. I'm like, it's just right time at the right place, I guess. But we were all up there, and then we were doing this, and nothing happened. And you go walking out there, and they, you
get this. Why you? Why you?
Roger was down there when it happened to me. Nobody else around saw anything or knew anything until I showed Roger. Yeah.
I always think too, it's a dynamic. When people say that to me, I listen like they're trying to be offensive, and I said, "Really? That's exactly why I'm why me? Yes, you get it now." Like, and I'm like, "No, you get it. I don't get it either." But obviously, there's something. But I look in the grand scheme of things, and there's certain markers. And if you look, they've been looking for certain people. Like they used to do the heel prick test, like the gifted and talented. I started seeing all these things on how structured, and maybe that they were. And that's when I started looking and trying to find what we share, like similarities, like, you know, the lineage. So UFO, it's going, you're probably got Native American, or you got Irish, or I'm telling you, there's the majority. Not saying you got both. Okay?
Yeah, both of them. Yep.
But most of you, some of you are going to experience lower body temperature. You're going to lower blood pressure, stuff like that. You're going to be, it's just like all these things that go on. And what was another one too? It was just like,
Native American, near-death experiences, Irish, and blood type, all that makes a difference.
Blood pressure?
I'm all of them.
Well, I got a story. I can't explain this. There was 20 witnesses. We came back from Florida, and I had an old 68 Plymouth, been sitting in the Tennessee sun for a week. And I went to start it up, carry some of my friends home, and there was people there picking up other people that had went with us. And we carried a few vehicles down, and we came back. So I already had picked out the 3 I was going to carry home. And so I went to start my car, and it wouldn't start. So I popped the hood, and the carburetor, the gas had evaporated out. So we're going to prime it. And we knew what we were doing and took all the precautions. Long story short, the guy misunderstood what I said. And I said, don't crank it until I tell you to turn it over. Well, he heard the turn it over, I think. And he started cranking it by the time my buddy was pouring gas in the carburetor. It backfired, caught on fire. He's in the car. I wasn't really worried about, you talking about slowing down, everything slowing down. I'm looking at the danger. My buddy knew he'd had this happen before with a lawnmower. He took off running. It's getting dark. I look over at John. I'm like, I knew my car was about to burn, but I wasn't worried about it at that point. So my trying to help save him, I had shorts on, thank goodness. I kicked this jug when it was on fire.
Oh
and
gosh.
it blew up. Just
Oh gosh,
it
Roger.
lit it. I gotta see that piece of ear missing right there.
Oh gosh.
That
Oh wow.
I got had first, second, and third on my left
Oh,
calf. But anyway,
I'm so sorry. That's horrible.
No, check this out. So I had on a loose shirt and shorts, and as this ball of fire that's engulfed me is coming up, I get my eyes closed in time. The pressure puffs out my clothes away from my skin, and I got my eyes shut just in time. Now, once that goes up, I'm on fire. Gas went on my leg. I'm on fire, and I could tell it was crackling like bacon.
Oh
But
God.
the hot part was the top of the flames coming off my legs hitting me under the arm.
Oh, are you serious?
And so
you were on fire?
I was on fire.
Oh my God.
I was standing in a fireball, and I was thinking, stop, drop, and roll.
Drop and roll.
I couldn't. I was in the middle of it, and so what happens next is, when endorphins kick in or whatever, it feels like warm honey. Like my body went numb, and my mind, I was like, "This is it. This is how I go," and I accepted it.
Yes. I know. Okay.
It was scary right at first, but then it's like, okay, this is it. This is how,
you just made peace with it, right? You knew.
I'm checking out. Here we go. So, I'm standing there with my eyes closed on fire. Can't feel the fire at this point. And it felt like you stuck your finger, this finger right here, in ice water, and something touched me right there.
Oh, wow.
And when that happened, I didn't open my eyes and decide which way to run. My body, my legs turned with my eyes shut in the dark, on fire, ran through the yard. I missed multiple cars, multiple trees. My sister was sitting on the back steps, and my mom's car was just a few feet away. I ran between that car and my sister on fire, and she never saw me.
Wow.
And I get to the front yard. Somehow I know I'm in the front yard, and I kind of come back to my senses. So I take and rake my hair to make sure it's out. And I made a deal with God right quick. I said, if I felt like I was messed up. I said, if I can see, I'll accept whatever. Just please let me be able to see. I opened my eyes and I'm like, okay, I can see now. Let's go to work. People are panicking, running around, trying to put fire out there. I'm the calmest one. I got skin dripping off my leg, falling off my leg.
Oh
my dad comes out there, and I had to take control of the situation. I said, everybody shut up right now. You go get 6 or 7 towels, wet them, get some wash rags and wet them. Mama, you calm down. You're going to drive. You're her friend. You're going to sit in the back seat and talk to her, keep her calm. Tony, you're going. I knew he was calm. I said, you're going with me. And I sat, and on the way to the hospital, it took about 25, 30 minutes. I had those wet towels over the air conditioner wide open and cooling off all of my burn spots. And I started going into shock. I felt like, so I started taking deep breaths, and I was talking my way out of it. It's just your extremities. It's not your organs. It's not your head. It's going to be fine. Just don't go into shock. And I talked myself out of that. Rotating all of these towels. Well, anyway, I get to the doctor. He asked me what happened. I told him. He thought I was lying because I drew all the heat out, right? Or most of it. And he said, where did you learn that? I said, hunter safety course. They teach us how to treat hypothermia and burns. He's like, what? So anyway, for 2 weeks, I remembered that touch, and the touch set my body in motion. I didn't think, I didn't like say, hey, I need to run way that thing has touched me and I need to go. I was blind running.
You just did
fire. I just did it. It wasn't a thought in my head. It told me to. My body woke up and I went running I had my eyes shut. So somehow I knew I was in the front yard, and that's when I, came back to my senses. But anyway, so for a couple of weeks, I felt euphoric. I felt like I was saved for some reason. Didn't know why.
Wasn't your
And
time.
so that when I first started telling that story, you have the same reaction other people do. Oh my God, that's so terrible. It's one of the best things that ever happened to me.
You bet it is.
And I don't know
And
why.
I can tell you why. Because it brought you closer to God.
Yep. Yep.
When
That's
something like
exactly-
that, don't you think they saved you? Like you were here, like you know what I mean? Like that could have been
Yeah.
your time, like your exit out, but
Yeah. It would have been because I'd already accepted it. I was, let's go. This is it. I hope it don't hurt.
I've been
But
at that point though. It's
Yeah.
crazy because once that bends, it's like a near death experience. Like Pops,
Mhm.
I think you go through it. With that part about driving with the dead man, is a quarter mile before that. It was real late at night. We are all asleep in the car. My grandmother, me in the back seat, her cleaning lady, and the guy that worked at her salon. So a quarter of the mile back, he spun that car around 3 times, which woke everybody up in the car. If he hadn't done that and then died just, half a mile down the road,
right.
we would have been gone
In
because
the middle of
that
it.
car, my grandma finally reached over and she turned that car off and we were not very far from a tree. Like that, it
Yep.
should have been head on into that tree and we should have, and it's like, so when something like that happens, it's like, no, I was not on fire. I did not have that kind of pain or anything like that, but I accepted. I
But
thought we were going to die in that moment.
but you could have been at any second if it'd been the timing was wrong. You know what I mean? It's like,
Wow, though.
the
Yeah.
every accident is perfect timing, and I've had things interrupt the perfect timing for some reason in my life to keep stuff from happening.
Yeah.
And I think I told some stories on last time about that that feeling of freezing up and not being able to continue what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
for maybe 5 seconds, and then it ended up sometimes it helps. Like I would have been in the middle of an accident. So I know exactly
Oh
I know
yeah,
exactly what you're
yeah. So
talking
you
about.
think it like this happened to save you from something like far, far worse?
Uh I don't know with the fire thing. It was when I say I felt euphoric, I was in pain and I did have pain medicine, but that's not what it's like. There was a different feeling like, okay, I knew I was saved, right? I didn't know why. And that's me. That's I'm always, well, why? What?
Why?
And I may not ever know, but there's things that happen in my life that people don't know about where you get to do something good or whatever. Maybe that was why. Maybe sharing our stories it's helping people now that's dealing with this stuff. Um, we've got
For
people that's
sure.
coming in and they have a terrible experience with something they don't understand. They start looking up YouTube shows. They start Googling things, and they come to Coley's show, and they're like, "Oh, she knows what I'm talking about," and they become a really good fan for you. I don't know. It's like everything's happens for a reason. I don't think we need to know why, but if you recognize it as a turning point or you appreciate it and give thanks for it, then you can move on. But
I call it a point of reflection
yeah, that's
because
good.
it's like when you see that, it's just like you check in those checkpoints, kind of in your life.
If I remember one time I was complaining. I was really, really overweight. And my foot was hurting, and man, I was at our store standing on that concrete, and I was like, man, I complained to somebody. How you doing? I was like, man, my foot's hurting. I'm too young for this, and I really wish this wasn't going on, y'all. Blah blah blah. And it was within an hour. And I've seen people tell this, but this happened to me. Man pulled up in a car. I had a thing I had to close out there. After I complained about my foot hurting, he got out of the car. He didn't have any legs. He was in a wheelchair.
Gosh,
He got out, came around, did everything. I offered to help him open the door. He said, "No, I got it. Thank you." And he went into the bathroom, and I just looked up at the sky. I said, "I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
Yes.
I got your message."
There's
Oh,
always, I rode a wheelchair for 2.5 years when I was in college. And everybody said, well, how do you stand it? And all I could do was look at them and say, well, there's always someone else in worse shape than I am.
Yep, always. Yep.
but
Always.
how
And
could you
you
stand
just
it?
got
How
to,
could you not? Like
Yeah,
that's I, you know.
yeah,
that was my way
oh,
around. I had to.
I had to. If I
yeah,
could
you
stand,
gotta,
it wouldn't be like this. But
you
why?
gotta accept it and just carry on the best you can. And like Roger said, and like I said, there's always someone in worse shape than you are.
Yep.
There is. But there's times, you know, and it's like you do feel like that. But once I get it out, and I try to acknowledge that too. I'm like, I'm sure there's far worse cases, but right now my case feels like a far worse case. So
Yeah.
please just excuse my ignorance or whatever it is right now. But I feel like it's that bad. I just need to make it through it. You know, but
Well,
it does too. It's that karma, man. I told Brody.
that's just like when I had my heart attack. I'm laying in a hospital bed with all these tubes on me, and all I can picture is my dad laying in the hospital with all the tubes on him with his heart, but he didn't make it home. I did. So that's what I said. There's always someone else in worse shape than you are, and just give it over to God and carry on and accept it and realize that it's happened for a reason.
It's hard because sometimes you get wrapped up into it. I know there's been times and periods where I kind of, you know, been down on life or felt down on life. And it's like those cognitive distortions are so real. Like I really thought at one point, it was like just a really bad portion of my life where I think I kind of had some depression going on. And was convinced people didn't want me at their house. And here it was not the case. And I just kind of got confronted. I'm like, you can get trapped into so much of this negativity that you kind of have to, you know, it's like we remember the bad times far before we remember the good.
Yeah.
Don't assume everybody. I was, you know, I started like, you know, with things I would tell clients, check it. If you really think that you got to prove yourself right or wrong, go and explore it that way. It's just like, you know, there's those parts and I feel both ends of it, but it's just like, man, sometimes those little moments, I don't know. It feels like the world's collapsing around you. It just, you know, and then I'm like, my son, he's really like, he's great. And he'll be like, he'll just give me this little pep talk. And I'm like, I'm like, who raised you? You're a good kid. It just kind of, you know, just uplifts you a little bit. You just kind of feel like you're down, but you're right. I mean, there's always something worse out there, but sometimes it feels like it's that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always feels that bad to you. But that's what I'm saying. Even though no matter how bad it feels, you've got to accept it and realize that there's more people out there in worse shape.
I tried that and it didn't make me feel better, Pops.
Have you ever felt like quitting the show, get frustrated, and then you realize how many people that you care about in chat and people that you met, and you push through and you do that next show and it's okay?
I you know, in the beginning when I was tossing, but I had been on other shows on Spaced Out Radio, but whatever, when I came back in the very beginning, I was like, what I struggled with was I stood up in my community and I felt like I was doing the right thing. And I felt like, people flipped around and they flipped the whole scenario on me. So I said, you know what? I had to go to court over this. I've not been very quiet about it, but at certain parts of it, I was locked up in a special unit for the show, that they used it against me. They said I quote unquote thought I was a freedom fighter and I was a conspiracy theorist. And at that time, it was enough to jump on the bandwagon with.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And if all they wanted me to do, was to deny all of this. The police department did. They admitted it's on court documentation, all of this. And I said, are you kidding me? So they were mad. What they were really mad was about another scenario where I was out fighting for freedom in our community and I felt like I was doing the right thing. But that was, it turned into this push-pull battle. But it was a show that pushed it. It was like nobody could believe. I said, do you realize who I'm interviewing? Do you realize that these aren't people, like I'm not going and this is like, have you looked into some of the people that are on my show? And I thought, you know what, the hell with it. I'm not, you know, but then I thought, you know what, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to say, hey, like I was in this scenario and this happened and that's making, you know, I felt in my heart, I'm doing the right thing. That shouldn't stop. It shouldn't stop because it's not everybody else's fault. But in the community, in this chat, has been so supportive when I don't think I was the one supporting myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, this happened. I'm tired of it being used against me. Because believe me, there's shows even made. They were taking it and they've made this ugly in many ways. But I'm not gonna. I had to get to a point where I wasn't so angry at them, where I became ugly.
Right.
Roger, it's funny you brought that up because that happened to me today, just today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not on Coley's shows.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong on that. It wasn't about Coley's show, but it was about some of the shows that I moderate. I actually thought about, forget it. They don't care whether I'm there or not. They don't even. I almost said, no, I'm not going to do it no more, but I can't do that. I'm not made that way. I've got to do what my responsibility says I got to do.
Well, you might take a little break and sit and let them know what they're missing.
Yeah.
But
Make them miss you a little,
just,
Pops.
Yeah,
Make 'em miss you a little.
It's just funny that you brought that up because it actually happened to me, and I had to call one of my best friends and talk to him about it today. That's how bad it was I actually called somebody and talked to them about it, and I normally don't do that.
But they should appreciate you, Pops. And if they don't appreciate you, I said, that's what I say. They let them, like Roger, let them, because when you miss somebody in chat and then you realize, like, you think back, sometimes people don't realize it. They don't, whatever. But at the moment when you see somebody that's there all the time missing, I go and I look for them and thinking, man, I must have missed something. Maybe it wasn't intentional. But I think that there's some people, though, that they use, like, they don't appreciate. I've seen it time and time again, and I'm like, I'm not sure.
But I just think it's funny that Roger brought that up.
Yeah, it just happened. He's probably tuning in.
I know a little bit about it, but I wasn't thinking about that when I said that. But the worst thing, I don't even like saying this business because there ain't no money in this business. It costs me more money to do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean? It's like everybody thinks you're getting rich. I'm like, so what I see, which I'm sure all y'all see it too, and it comes down to pretty much one thing. What caused most of the rifts in all of this is stupid egos.
That's it. 100%.
I don't care enough to have an ego. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
nah. You know what? I said, I don't care if you have 5 people on your show. If you want me to come on your show, I'll come on your show. It's like, I don't care about, it's not even about that. I want to connect with people.
Yeah,
It's all about
exactly.
connecting.
I've done the same thing. Like, go on somebody, I see their show. They might have 7 people or whatever. And then watch again and again. And I'm like, Adam is a friend on Facebook. And I say, hey, if you ever need me to come on or whatever, I'll be gladly come on.
Heck
and
yeah.
I don't, as long as they're good people, that's all that matters to me. If you're a good person, I'm gonna bend over backwards and help you. But I've had it happen to me. I've had it. This guy asked me to be on his show. He was trying to build him a YouTube channel. He had about 200 something subscribers, and I don't remember. I was over 2,000 at the time on that. I took how it's a lot of work to build and build.
Yeah, this is my 3rd YouTube. Oh yeah, I know.
So you know how it is, and
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to mention any names, but I ain't never really told this story. But I had something come on my heart. I'm like, you know what? I just like right here. There's a blue button that says stream to your audience. And I'm like, I never had done that before. And I was like, hey, dude, we had like 2 minutes. I said,
you can. Oh, people.
I said, you want me to stream to my audience? And that way I can pull my whatever. And he looked into the camera. He said, you can, but you ain't getting no money for it. Real mad.
What? I pulled the cord out.
Right before he went live. And
I pulled the cord out with that. What? Oh God.
So I kind of backed up a little bit and I almost just hit out of,
Yeah.
whatever.
And
yeah, I'm not even going to do this show, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do what I said I would do. So he knew I was mad. And I said, dude, I was just trying to help you. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then he realized and he kind of started trying to kiss my butt a little bit. We did the show. And as soon as he said bye, I hit that thing and I have had no interaction with him since. I've had people, why don't you talk to so and so? I'm like, who?
Who's that? Yeah, like you think that. Oh, I know. It's so. Sometimes it blows me away, and
Yeah.
it comes down to ego. And I'm like, you can jump on, like different platforms. Like right now, we have close to 200 people live. Then people don't even realize. And I'm like, you're acting. They were taking one of my. I barely even go on Rumble. I just use it as like kind of a backup. There's
Yeah.
like maybe like 70 subscribers, and they were like literally kind of making fun out of me. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what is wrong with people? If I had one subscriber, why would you be making fun out of me? Why would you, period, out of anybody? You're growing at certain points. Somebody usually just doesn't start off and have, it is a process. And you have to really be dedicated to it. You have to love this. You have to love what you're doing. And the people have to, this is like the way it works. And I'd never take that part of it for granted, ever.
Well, and the people doing this for the right reason, and we can tell them how much money we're not making. They won't believe us. But I took every penny, and I would have loved to kept this money here, but I've got this for the people that are listening because it's better for them, right?
Yes.
Because I've had people like, oh, your microphone's horrible.
Stuff. Yes.
Improve everything. And I just don't get it.
No, I don't either.
But that's the thing. I'm mature, and so I don't care enough to care what they care. So
I don't either. That's a freeing experience because I was like, oh, well, that's just stupid. Like but make your video and say what you want about. There's like a certain couple channels that their whole. That's all they do is you'll look and they'll see a ton of videos of me and a few other people. That's all they do all day. It's like, if you've got nothing better to do you not realize that you're actually boosting my views? I don't really want them boosted this way, but you are. And it's kind of more people, and the right people are coming to me that see this and they're like, this is wrong. And they, it's creating, and I'm like, even though it's the biggest annoyance in the world, I'm like, this is dumb on your part. You'd be best to ignore me altogether if I really irritate you that much.
I don't mind if somebody calls me dumb. I'm like, okay, well, come in and educate me. I'm all for it. And I see people that they don't have any original thoughts.
None.
All they can do is tear people down and laugh and all that. And the funny thing is, well, my group of friends that do this, we laugh our butts off at some of. They don't know people are laughing at them. They think they're doing something, but they're actually helping you because you might have somebody and say, I'm gonna go watch that show and see how bad she really is, and then they'll sit there for an hour like, well, what are they talking about? She's a cool person. I
can always tell
now
when
you got
a
subscriber, right?
And they're the best. They're the most loyal. And I'm telling you, all through this, the good people have found, and then they've said, hey, we saw this, something happened. And I was like, yeah, it's just crazy that I said they don't eat, they don't sleep. For some reason, they're so concerned about what I've got more cease and desist letters in my email than I know what to do with. And I'm like, what are you even, why you're not even on my radar? I'm not even concerned, but it's like they want to make themselves so badly a part of something. Is the only thing I can think of it. It's really weird. Some of it is crazy.
And I started mine to learn more, and that's what I'm doing. I don't have any thoughts of me being the best researcher. I've messed up more evidence than most people found. I've done stupid crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, one of my friends, why didn't you do this, man? I didn't even think about that. Like, and I make fun of myself more than anybody else does.
Me too. Touch me on the right. Yeah. But this is like you said, like they're taking my content and then I might get froze in a certain spot and then I'll see it on somebody like, there's a video of you with this really weird face. And I was like, really? Because do you know how many times this happens and you have streaming stuff? That's all you got. Go for it. You go with that all day long. Wow. How long have you been on and doing what you're doing if you haven't froze? I've had though, you get comfortable. It's like, but when you can let that, and you're showing other people too, it's sometimes, I mean, I always thought, and the reason I got into this was like, I wanted to ask people questions. And I don't know if they couldn't see my questions, if it was like they were ignoring my questions, they didn't really see the need to interact with somebody. So I'm like, are you making an X account? I had like 3 subscribers. And I was like, could not get a reply. So I'm like, oh, I need subscribers. So that's why I like started. I'm like, oh, okay. So, but my whole point is I want to make this so people, it doesn't matter you're like in chat or whatever, it's a little bit different here. I want you to be able to ask those people questions too.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I had some guy like last year. He didn't realize that I had a much bigger, like I have X's almost like 50K. At one time, I was really big over there, and I'm like, he just judged me by like something, and he's like, oh well, maybe in a couple years. And I put him, and he was on my list, and I thought, never, not a couple years, not 5 years, and I'll guarantee there'll be a point where you're asking me to come on, and I just say, hey, no, because I don't think that's what it's all about.
I just go by how people treat me. If they treat me
Absolutely.
bad, they're not. I don't. So look, I don't know if I said this on the other show, but there has to be a level of trust between the guest and the host, because you can 180 on somebody and tear them down, and then a lot of them will panic. Bring up something they don't want to talk about, or I could come on your show and I could throw out a bunch of bad words that's going to get you in trouble. You know what I mean? So there has to be a level of trust there. If I see you acting like an idiot in public, I ain't putting you on airwaves. I'm not, as to my name, but
no way.
I don't have that problem much at all. I've had it happen a couple times, but they stand out because here's what gets me is when you're trying to help somebody and they do you like that. That's the problem.
Yes.
Gary, what Gary was talking about earlier,
He's just trying to help and they don't appreciate it. And then they take it. Not only that, they twist it and they make it ugly. I'm like, man, I wonder why nobody wants to help you. Like, for real.
Danny Hawk says, do y'all ever come to Texas squatch hunting? I haven't, but we've got a lot of friends that's their area. And what's cool about this, whether it's UFO or ghost or Bigfoot or whatever, you get you get a network of people that trust each other, and we're always sharing behind the scenes. Hey, this happened, and we got people that document. Not all of us do it, but if I know the people to call, hey, I had this happen. What was the temperature? What was time of day? What was going on? What was the food in the area like? So we're trying to document things, and there's some. There's something in the works right now where some people y'all would know that I'm really good friends with. We're thinking about starting a website so we can take our reports and put them in a spot where it's free to everybody to look at and access.
Yes.
And we're thinking about focusing on maybe the South, from Texas to the Southeast, but anyway, we've got a few people in certain areas that will be designated for, you can send emails and
that's cool.
It's not going to be like the BFRO because they do a great job, but our own little version of it, because some of them are getting older. They've got tons of information. They've got tons of evidence, and we just want it in a spot to where you don't have to go through what I did back in the days. Like, I don't know where to go, but you can look Bigfoot in Mississippi and like, hey, this is the representative from Mississippi, or there's 4 of them.
That's a good idea.
So, and we're kicking that around, and it was brought to me by a really well-known Southern Bigfoot investigator. So I was honored to be asked to
that's awesome.
Middle Tennessee. So,
but there's a lot of people want to do that, and we know all of them.
Mm-hmm. And you probably know who I'm talking about. So
yeah, I do. I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know what's crazy though is you go to do something. I obtained. It wasn't easy to do. I obtained MUFON's star team and what they were looking for with experiencers. I got the roper pole, and I had the other one that the government uses. And I thought, and I had somebody who could design this whole thing, and put up enough security around it. We just wanted the people to have it, and we wanted to have it to kind of put together, like, what are some of these similarities? Why is this happening? Right. Certain families, things, and stuff like that. And
tie it together a little bit. If there's a connection there, if it's scattered everywhere, you're not going to put that connection together. But yeah, I agree.
But do you know what they did? So somebody who is known in this community with the CIA, they put people in, and when we went to go and they sabotaged the whole thing. And I thought, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They did not want that to happen.
That tells you a lot right there.
So they don't want what Roger's doing either.
They're not going to. That's my whole point. Is be careful.
That's why the BFRO does not. I mean, they choose what they're going to report anyway. but they don't report half of what actually goes on.
No, and I went through that process for my own my first sighting. I contacted them, and then I wanted to see what the process was, and I will give them this: it was very thorough in what they went through the questions. But I will also tell you this: everything I told them is not in that report, and the reason they do that is
Yeah.
for they hold some stuff back because if you let everything out there, people can call and lie to them and all that. But I went in skeptical and came out impressed. Let's put it that way. I'm not taking up for them. I just
Do you
know
think
where
that they're backdoor? MUFON's a backdoor. They were with the AARO. They're a backdoor to the DOD, like the government. Like that's the problem I have. Do you think the BFRO is kind of along this, or no?
No, and it's just a gut feeling. No, is what I think, because I'm really good friends with a guy that's really good friends with a guy who started it. So I kind of know some inside information. I don't think. Here's what I think. I don't think they took it serious at first.
Oh.
You know what I mean? You know, so no, I feel like that's run a certain way. Now, do I think that they could come in the back door and get everything they want? Oh, sure. You know, we can't fight that.
I'm just wondering if they don't want certain. Why would they go? Like, I was willing to put all this data out, give to the people. I just wanted to be able to. We figured out what qualifying questions were there. I thought, what is it the big deal? But then you kind of said something, and without knowing, you know, there's certain information that is left out. Like in a crime scene, there's certain information. Let's say that's left out. But that information, it must, you know, is what are we missing here that they don't want us to know? Well, that it would be so important to shut it down.
Hey, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
All right. I wanted to, Danny Hawk, you said the big thicket in Texas. Gary, is that where Debbie Porch?
Yes, it is.
Yep. We know, we have a friend that saw a Bigfoot in the big thicket.
That's what I told him in chat, was that we have friends from the big thicket area. Yep. And not just her. I've got several friends that go over there to investigate. And then we saw one and saw a UFO east of Dallas down there at that lake. I can't even think of the name of the lake now.
Well, you should cross and take on the UFO stuff too, and see if the connections.
I want to say one thing about the BFRO, and I'll get away from it. I noticed a transition. You know, Gary, 10 years ago, if you talked about, you know, woo kind of stuff with Bigfoot, people would laugh and all that. Well, Matt, the guy that started it, shied away from every. And here's the thing: I heard him in Gatlinburg talk on stage, and here's what he said: we have to stay away from that right now because we're trying to get scientists interested enough to dig in with us, and then we can focus on that later. And there was people that I knew got up and walked out. They didn't hear. They heard what they wanted to hear. He was trying to tell them, "Look, let's get this type evidence to the people who can help us further this, and then we can focus on the other." And then I've got friends that, you know, help with that organization, and there were certain things that they couldn't talk about for that reason. They want their reputation. You know, they want to pull the scientists in. They want to pull in the people that know about this stuff. So, but he had some weird stuff happen to him, you know, when the drone thing was going on all over the country, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I follow him on Twitter or X now, and I remember him saying that they were on a mountain, and they had another crew on another mountain. They were out Bigfooting, and they could see the UFOs over top of their friends on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they're radioing over, "Hey, y'all got UFOs over on top of y'all." "No, we don't. Y'all do." And they look up, they can't see them. So the people in the spot couldn't see with their naked eye the UFOs that were over them, but the people on the other side could see opposite, right?
Oh,
and then you talk about Bob Lazar said, if you go back and remember something he said about the craft that he saw, he said you could go under it and you couldn't see it, right under it. You could almost touch it, but you couldn't see it.
Yeah, no, I've seen him like that before. Yeah, it's crazy.
So my son explained this. He called me one day, he was at his mom's house. It was a clear blue sky with a few clouds, but he said he was walking in and something caught his eye up in the sky, and he said it was a rectangle, but it looked like it was almost same color as the sky, but he could see the hard line.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's almost like something was trying to hide
Yeah, they do.
right there. And he said, Daddy, I looked at it and it wasn't the same color as the sky, but it was real close.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a picture and you can see it. I'm like, look at how big this is, but they do cloak. That's the way they cloak in the clouds.
We're going to have you back on again. You know that, Roger.
I don't care. I'll do whatever.
We got 10 minutes and StreamYard's going to shut us down.
Well,
but
I can't believe how long I've never done 4-hour shows in the Roger. I'm like, man, I could stay and talk to you all day. This is awesome.
Roger, the reason I waited so long to start telling my stories is because the majority of it is on the woo side.
Yeah. Well,
so, people don't believe it. Even my friends that are believers didn't believe it.
Well,
but they do now.
Gary, here's another thing. There's so many different groups out here, different heritages and all over the world. We may have 25 names for the same thing, and if you use it wrong in front of this group, they're like flipping out. And you're like,
I know.
That's the same thing you were talking about. So
I mean,
that's why this matters.
I got yelled at for saying Bigfoot. I don't know how many times I said Bigfoot hunting, and don't say that. I said, well, ghost hunting. I don't mean hunting. No. Just a phrase.
Hang on, guys. Everybody in chat, thank y'all for coming in tonight. And we will have another part with Roger back on later on. We'll get it scheduled and we'll let you know when. And Roger, we've been running across the ticker all night. Tell them where they can find you right quick. Squatchin Holler, Untold Radio.
Go to Untold Radio Network. First thing you do, go to Untold Radio Network. You can subscribe if you want to. We have a few shows on there that we're not involved with. Doug Highcheck, it's under him, the Monster Quest producer and all that. Great guy. You can watch their shows. Now, if you want to see the older stuff and laugh at me, just type in Squatchin Holler and the old channel. It's got this logo right here. You see the difference.
Oh, okay.
That's the original logo. And if you want to listen to some of my goofy music I'm doing, you can go to two places. You can go to Eli Coulter on YouTube, or you can go to @RogerHoller. And some of that I've been doing stuff for fun, stuff I can ride down the road and listen to, So you might not like some of that, but that's okay. It's just for fun.
He has got some great songs out there. I mean, great.
I've heard this.
I want to give an applause to Coley and whoever makes your daggum intro.
Me.
That's her.
Oh God.
I'm like, do you know how long it takes me to jam, mix this? And I'm like, it sounds crazy, but I'm like, if I'm gonna make people sit here while I'm dropping the link live, I'm doing it live. I'm back there. Gary can see me. Nobody else can. I'm like, I'm jamming to that myself.
Yes, she is.
I would say that's the best part of the show, but especially with me on here, I don't want to offend you. But I mean, what it does, it gets you ready, Yeah. And we have an intro and outro that Doug made. I absolutely love, but yours, I was texting with him. I said, I'm about to be on Coley's show. I said, she has a 15-minute intro.
But the reason she does, and I want to tell chat this because a lot of people in chat don't know this. The reason she does is to get all the platforms going. She got 3 Facebooks, 1 YouTube, 1 X, and 2 Instagrams. All shows going on them tonight alone. That's the reason the intro is so long.
I dropped I have to go and I have to wait for this to go live, and then I go into my groups. So right now I can't tell how many are in each platform, but there's 203. And that goes, if I work it will go up to 4. So I'm thinking I want to give people, and some people will do it, they'll get on and they'll kind of go back and forth. And I can't. There's no way I can do it. If you saw what I was doing behind the scenes, you'd think I was a wild lady. Like and then like sometimes it won't go through. Gary can probably see it all back there. Like I'm so animated, but I'm in a race to try and get this done as quick as possible. So I'm like, if I'm going to do this, other people will sit there and they're waiting for the numbers to go up, but they're just kind of having casual conversations. But people get really mad about it. So I try and cut it out after, and I try and explain that I'll ask a guest, well, if you like just to have 50 people, or we could have a few hundred, and that way your message, because I again feel like that person with one subscriber nobody would listen to, it's really important that I give them, if I can, the best platform I can to go on. But yeah, it's a lot of people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm not trying to make you listen to the music. It's not.
Well, what it does is it allows people to get alerts. And it allows them time, and they'll come in. You don't want to miss 30 minutes of conversation, or the first 15 minutes have to go back. So that's kind of what a longer intro does. And Coley, I don't know how they have it set up on our StreamYard that we use through Doug, but I can hit go live and it goes to all those platforms automatically. They're already put in there.
That's it. The platform will only on Instagram and on so those two I have to do separate, but it's the groups. I have to wait for the link to go live to drop it in the groups, because then it'll drop. If I just put the link in there, they're not as likely to come over. I actually put the whole show, like where and then I get everybody from my groups over there.
That's very smart. Gary, won't you do it for me? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I wish I knew how to do it. Cody, when is your next show?
Oh, tomorrow?
18th, right?
No, not tomorrow. I'll be moving stuff tomorrow. But Thursday, I have Richard Doty at 4:00 with Jay Austin from the UK. And then I have Everything Amy. She's got her paranormal group. They have a TV show up there, and she's been on a few times. But her whole group is coming, and she'll be at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right. Today is the 16th. So next Monday. Yeah, Roger will be on. Roger will be on Thursday night at 7:00. Y'all be sure and come over and watch him.
Yeah, we got Katie G.
Katie G.
Pops knows who Katie G is. She's funny. She's scared. She's scared of cat like I am. When stuff goes down, you better get out of her way.
Yeah. So Roger, is your show? You're on Thursday, because I block out certain shows.
Thursday at 7:00.
Okay, I'll put you on my schedule then.
Yeah, Central. Yeah. Just we do it different depending on the guest. Sometimes we'll go on hours, max about 3. If Kumbo's on, we're going to be there. You're going to be there 6 hours. Yeah. But yeah, just stop by and say hey, and we're laid back, and we want to get information out there. And Katie's had something happen recently within like the month, or maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And our show we did for Christmas and Thanksgiving, they didn't get many views because of the timing. And Katie, I might get her to tell what happened to us in South Alabama, and then a couple of her encounters. Yeah. And, she's seen the orbs, she's seen some of the wild stuff, and she's got a couple of good pictures. One of them you can almost make out the fingers and the fingernails. Oh, it was right behind her house, so it's not perfect. I mean, it's hard to get that on a small lens, but we'll listen to her story, and Katie's as honest as they come. So I like to mix it up with research experts versus people like us that just have crap happen to them, and like, hey, just
Friday night. I got 4 minutes to plug all these channels.
No. Okay, Gary.
Friday night at 8:00. If nothing happens, Cedar Creek Bottoms Farmstead will be on. Sunday at 5:00. Oddcast podcast off the record. That's Blackie and Erica. They're in chat right now. They always have a good show. I don't know who their guest will be next week. This Sunday. But y'all come over and watch it. I posted the links earlier tonight. Wendell's supposed to have a show pretty soon. I don't remember when it is. He's going to have a guest on.
Oh, next I didn't know Monday. Wendell had a channel. Okay.
Yeah, Wendell is Wendell Bigfoot 911. Mm-hmm. And next Monday at, I don't remember the time, 8:00 Central, we will have the Sisters of the Moon, which is Debbie Porch from the Big Thicket.
Yep, who we just mentioned.
They will be on telling some of their experiences. And
that's PNW Rush. Real quick, PNW Rush is Friday. on here.
Yeah, PNW is Friday on Coley's channel. The Sisters of the Moon will be with the panel with Cindy and Lori, Maya, and Coley. Y'all be sure. Okay, Blackie said that Mark Green is part 2 on Sunday. So y'all be sure and come by at 5 o'clock Central on Oddcast Podcast Off the Record, because they got a good show. And I'm done. We got 2 minutes left, but I'm done.
Okay, Roger, who do you got going? Is it you just do your Thursday night shows at 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Not just that's what you have.
Eventually, yeah, I used to go live a little bit, but since we're on this, we just do it. Eventually,
okay.
Well, I mean,
so we're not watching you live when you're on?
Yeah, I'm what I mean is I just go randomly live, like out in the field or whatever.
Oh,
I don't get to do that as much, but if we go and we get access to this property, I'm gonna film some and put a video together to show it. So maybe we.
This was like at LBL. He went live at LBL when we saw that eye shot.
That's fun. Yeah, you guys should do that when you're out on these outings. Really.
Well, the reason we got to, though, Adam was there. Adam Colt was there, and he had Starlink. If it hadn't been for that, I'd have been in trouble.
Oh, you probably wouldn't have the reception.
Hooked right up to Starlink and rock and roll. So
yeah, now, Roger, if you would, please get me in touch with Mike Smith.
All right. Yes.
I will.
So on that note, we're going to have Roger back for part 2. This has been great. Thank you for spending so much time with us, Roger. We appreciate it. Gary, as always, Pops, thank you for all you do for the show, for the channel, for the chats, for the multiple chats, for the multiple chats. You do a lot.
Thank you,
and
Gary.
on that note, Gary, thank you. I always try, and he doesn't like to take credit for it. I give Gary, he's like I think he could be in the Guinness Book of World Records. With that being said, there's something out there. We got to get him into the Olympics on this, because I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen it like that. And I'm not even joking. But on that note, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown. I'm Coley, also known as ColeyUFO. This is Pops, Gary, Spike Sr. And then we got Roger Willems from Squatching Holler. And then if you don't know who they are, come from out under that rock on YouTube that you're under, because these are the people now. Definitely show your support. Love all of you. And on that note, I guess we can call it a night. Or let's see if we can beat the StreamYard clock here.
Yeah.
I have a thing.
We got 20 seconds.
Okay. We're gonna see. Here we go.
Whack froze.
Ah.